The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Superspeedway Cup Series Chase Race number 2 here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway circa 07. That means there's plenty of bumps and grooves and all kinds of things for these guys to handle here tonight. Second race of the chase, you got the Xfinity cars that was voted on by the drivers themselves. And it should be a fun one here tonight. 100 laps, 250 miles of scheduled distance. And we look forward to getting ourselves one step closer to crowning Season 13 championship winner. Joining myself, Andy Kessler, topside in the booth here tonight. It's going to be the lovely and talented Cisco Scaramouza as well, pushing the buttons and getting them to you. So double duty for you here tonight, Cisco. But like I said, we're in for a treat here with this very old, rough, abrasive racetrack. These Xfinity cars, which hold a lot of grip. The draft package is pretty racy with these cars. What do we expect here tonight?
I think the biggest thing we're going to see here tonight, Andy, is the fact that we don't have the Cup cars here, we don't have the trucks, we have the Xfinity cars, and these cars have shown us time and time again that these are the cars these guys are most comfortable at driving. Now, this track, on the other hand, is not at all, but I guess the good thing is you at least get one of the two. The track isn't very good for these guys. It's out there, but I've driven this track, you've driven this track. It's not, I wouldn't call it fun. It's not my idea of fun anyway. It's bumpy, it's rough. I don't really like driving it, and it makes for maybe an unstable car. But they've got the most stable out of these three cars that we'll usually see in this series, that being the Sprint Cup, the Xfinity, and the Camping World Truck. Out of those three series, the Xfinity has proved to be the most stable and provide some of the best racing. So put that here at Daytona, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. Of course, this is the most stable. The drivers, they vote on it every time they get a chance to vote. They vote for these cars time and time and time again. And it's the draft package, like we mentioned. It's how stable these cars are. But in that instance, or them being as stable as they are and as racy as they are, and these guys get braver and braver and try the three wide stuff, especially at a place like Daytona, a little bit narrower than Talladega. You throw in all those bumps, you're in for a pretty rough night if you think three wide is going to work around this racetrack here tonight. Two wide is going to be a handful in itself, especially coming up off these corners. Those guys on the bottom, when they hit those bumps, they're going to start pushing their way up the racetrack, especially as the runs go on, as the tires wear out as well, too. So we're in for a great treat here tonight. Of course, last week, how about Greg Hooks picking up his fourth career Superspeedway Cup Series victory? He did it at Talladega in that truck that we had been talking about. But Greg Hooks, a non-chaser, stealing the show from all these guys. Chris Bassini, of course, the top. He's been at the top of the standings pretty much the whole entire season. He came home in second spot, Cisco. But I'll tell you what, that's a pretty cool thing to see those guys do what they've done obviously anybody can win at this racetrack. It's a great equalizer. We always talk about the super speedways being that. But even with the stacked field and the competition, to see a guy that's not in the chase do as well as he did, even Josh Ball with a top 5 in that 78 car, that's a pretty cool feat for these guys.
Absolutely, and we talk about Josh Ball made his return to the series last week in the trucks and had a great race. Wasn't quite what he was looking for. That whole race got caught up in an incident during it, but nonetheless, a decent run for him. Greg Hooks, of course, part of that whole organization, Dark Horse Incorporated, teammates with Chris Bassini, teammates with Rodney Wofford, those guys in the chase, basically just brought him along for the ride. I think Hooks was maybe looking to help out his teammate a little bit, but ended up taking himself to the win. That's huge for that team. But Chris Bassini, he's at the top of the points right now. He's got 9 points on a tie between Atwell and DeMerchant, and then 12 back to Wofford. So a close points race for that top 4. Then you got a little bit of a gap back to Andrew Berger. But as we get set to set the grid here, this is going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, we'll talk about points more as we go along here tonight, but qualifying's all said and done. And how about that guy up at the top of the board? We've seen him many a times in victory lane on the pole at Daytona, and why not continue it on here tonight at Daytona at the 07 circuit. And here he is, Rodney Wofford, on the top spot with a pole time of a 50.088. It just barely bested out the 87 of Ray Rittenauer. He's going to start on the front row on the outside. Rod Flagg, great qualifying effort for him as well. He'll roll off on the inside of row number 2. And starting fourth, it's going to be that number 3 car, I should say, of Paul Servant, while Josh Hanner will round out the top 5.
Josh Ball in the 78 is going to roll off 6th. 7th's going to go to Alex Hallinar. 8th's to Brandon Cruz Monsivice. 9th's going to go to the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. And 10th is going to go to Chris Pizzini.
Former series champ Frank Busilia, who's doing a good job so far. He's probably right about that cutoff point, 6th in points right now, 25 back. He's going to roll off 11th tonight. Matt Quick in the 89, he's going to start 12th. 13th goes to the 99 of Kelly Dahl. Scott Warren in the 76 will start 14th, and Dan Harrington will start 15th.
16th is going to go to Andrew Berger. 17th is going to go to the 8 of Dana Osborne. 18th going to go to Seth the Merchant. 19th to Jared Haggerty, and 20th is going to go to Ramon Evans.
Tanner Mann in the number 9 car will start 21st. 22nd goes to Dennis Cook. Christian Peterson, who basically needs a small miracle here, it will start 23rd. 24th tonight with a last car to take qualifying effort. That's going to be Christopher Berry, while Greg Hooks, last week's winner, is going to start 25th.
26 is going to go to Tommy Hall in the 29. 27 is going to go to Shane McEachin in the 28. 04, Garrett Atwell is going to roll off 28th, also in provisional land. Rest of these guys also in provisionals. 29th to Glenn Hendrick. 30th to Derek Walker. 31st, Roger Stewart. 32nd, Dwayne Cooper. 33rd, Travis Stewart. Larry Camp, 34th. And Joe Marganti will round out the 35-car field.
So 35-car field, we talked about the points just a moment ago. I talked about Frank Busilia being in 6th right there. 25 points out. Basically needs a fantastic run here tonight. He's right there at that cutoff. You look at him, 25 back. Mark Jorgensen just behind him, 35 points back. You start getting to those guys, they're almost, listen, there's 33 cars in the field tonight. Anything can happen, and they definitely can take a big chunk of points out of that. But that's a lot of points to only get done in 3 races. These guys definitely have their work cut out for them, those guys at the bottom of the standings. Let's take a quick look, though, at tonight's track facts for Daytona International Speedway. Of course, this is the mecca of all meccas in the Superspeedway world. Daytona, known around the world, of course, 31 degrees of banking in both sets of the corners, almost 3 stories tall. It makes for some great action down there when these guys get close to 200 miles an hour into the corners. The tri-oval, just 18 degrees, in the back straightaway, of course, it might as well be flat with just 2 degrees of banking. A fantastic one we have here tonight. So, points, chase, everything involved in this one here. Just 2 to go after tonight. So, like I said, those guys down the bottom of the standings there, Cisco, they got a lot of work to do here tonight, and they got to get it done quickly.
A lot of work, and it's going to be very tough to do it here tonight. Very tough to pass here at Daytona 07. But nonetheless, the pace car getting ready to make that left turn on pit road. And Andy, it's all you.
Yeah, we get set to get this one underway. Chase race number 2 here tonight. Daytona 07 in the field, getting ready to get it done. Pace car looking to make that sharp left turn down to pit road. Rodney Wofford awaits the green flag. It waves, and we're racing at Daytona.
Great start on that bottom side. Rodney Wofford got a good run there at the beginning, but Paul Servant tried to get a little bit of help from Josh Ball. They had a push going, but now I'm seeing the Mark Jorgensen machine on the back bumper, the 64 of Hallinar as they head down to turn 1. He's trying to get that bottom line rolling. A little bit of a gap in front of Hallinar, who has kind of made a return. Haven't seen him the last couple of weeks, or if we have, he just hasn't run well. So Hallinar looking forward to return up back to the front, I guess. But 3 wide going to go already as Rod Flagg's going to shuffle Wofford to the middle, but that's Hanner's going to go to the middle, try and go with teammate. Now jumping to the outside. Wofford, I don't know if he's got any friends. He's trying to help him, but as they head through 3, it's going to get dicey quick.
It's definitely going to get dicey really quick here. Of course, Rodney Wofford, 4th in the standings coming into the night. Not what he wanted. He's going to luck out and get some help right there from Chris Pizzini in that 1 car. He's going to allow him to keep that speed up in the middle lane here. As you see that 87 of Ray Rittenauer drop down to the bottom. He'll catch up with that number 60 machine, a Rod Flag, but right in front of him, Josh Ball and the number 3, Paul Servant. They're going to lead the way into turn number 1. Josh Ball, though, jumping down to the bottom. Trying to take advantage of that bottom side. You can already see the movement out of these cars. Only 2 laps into this thing here. But already the movement, you see these cars just kind of, that's what makes the 3 wide action. If we see any of it, it's going to be awfully hairy and awfully sketchy for these drivers to hang on to those things throughout these corners. Top side, a little bit of an advantage in turn number 3. Not quite clear though. Josh Ball holding his serve on the bottom.
Yeah, and Ball's doing a great job of keeping that line kind of moving, and we've seen more of an advantage to that high side when we've been here in the past. It looks like it's going to happen again. Paul Servant gets a great run through 4 right there, able to get across the line. New leader is that 3 Oreo machine, but now he's going to jump to the bottom as such, basically gets swallowed up by that top side. I don't know, Andy. That top side's looking fast right now as Josh Hanner, Rodney Wofford, and Chris Bassini, the teammates, are on the top.
Yeah, making great progress on that top side. A little trouble we'll mention just now for the 9 car of Tanner Mann. Coming off of turn number 4, got a little bit loose, went down to the apron, may have made contact with the inside wall, but currently is way off the pace and has no help at all. More contact into turn number 3. Josh Ball, it's a little door action from that door. And now we got big trouble. There we go. Turn 3, 4, 5 cars around now. Big problems.
And that was a lot of loose condition we saw there, Andy, and we're going to be seeing that a lot tonight, but as we're going to get the replay here to try and figure out what happened, that wreck, it looked like Josh was going to be able to hold on to it, but then everyone just started losing it behind him, so I'm not really sure what happened.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys just seeing what happened just wanted to check up, not get involved with it. Next thing you know, you got guys checking up, other guys not aware of it, and then next thing you know, you got Calamity cornered just like we had in 3 and 4 there. And heavy damage to a lot of those drivers, a lot of those vehicles right now in much need of some repair after this one. But all started just with some side-by-side contact from Chris Bassini and that 78 of Josh Ball up towards the front of the field. And that's where it all starts, and that's where it all is going to come unfold. And it's unfortunate for all the guys that are behind him. So our first caution tonight comes out on lap number 4. Josh Hanner, currently your race leader. Paul Servant holds in second. Third, Rodney Wofford. I expect pit road to be pretty busy. Now, do we see guys take 4 tires? Most guys probably 2, but I think the question or the whole idea of this is just the ability to go down pit road, top that thing off with fuel, make sure that we get that long green flag run. They're able to make it the full distance that they possibly can here. So the field making its way off of turn number 4 under our first caution of the night. Pit road is open, and it doesn't look like too many takers there. Top 2 going to stay out, making the top 3 here. First one in is going to be that one of Chris Bassini. He'll pit from the 4th spot. A couple other drivers as well from behind are going to come down and take advantage of this here. Just a handful of drivers will stay out under this first caution.
Yeah, we can see the 89 right in the rearview mirror there of that one of Chris Bassini. That's Matt Quick. Kelly Dahl in as well. Andrew Berger is actually, he's going to get some damage repair. The one also in the 94, a little bit of damage on the right rear, that Frank Basilia machine, the McDonald's machine that is. And a couple cars, I don't think it's out of the question you take 2 tires, Andy. I mean, we saw in that replay there, we saw the 82 of Dan Harrington basically get bounced down onto the yellow line. And that can happen here if you're not careful. Because of all the bumps, you can get bounced down into a lane you don't want, spin the tires up, and next thing you know, you've basically worn off the left side tires because you've been drifted all the way through the corner. It's not a bad idea. It's certainly going to be more helpful here than maybe in 2011, as we saw the plane land at Daytona's airport. But I really think that tires are going to be more of a factor than they would anywhere else. They've been more of a factor this last year in the sim, especially with these new draft packages. And I think that's where you're going to see it come into play. You start to see a little bit of strategy.
Yeah, see a little bit of strategy, especially at this racetrack with all the bumps. Like you said, they can push you up the racetrack. They can push you down the racetrack if you hit them the wrong way, per se. And in doing so, with all that side movement you get in these cars, it's going to wear the tires out a lot more than they would at, say, the resurfaced Daytona that is on the sim, as well as Talladega. So top 5 are going to stay out on the racetrack. That includes the 64 of Alex Howner, Rod Flagg, Rodney Wofford, Paul Servant, and their leader, Josh Hanner. First one off of pit road, though, the 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr. He will be out there as well with Dana Osborne. Already have made a stop here tonight. So just 5 laps into this one. I expect most of these conditions important. You can come from the back to the front. It does take some time, but there's always that possibility of what just happened to happen as well, too. So for these top 5 guys, obviously a little bit more into the run, another 5 laps or so, you definitely would have seen them come down pit road, but just 5 laps into it, not surprised to see some of the guys decide to keep that track position early.
No, and I think it'll come into play here. Obviously, those tires can be a little bit older, but clean air basically makes that car perfect nonetheless. I think the hardest thing to do is drive these cars in traffic at this '07 track. I mean, we talk about it's a little bit even more narrow than what we see in 2011, and we're gonna talk about it all night because you're gonna see it all night, and it's unlike anything you really see at most of the other tracks we go to. I can think, Andy, just going through my head right now, I would say Rockingham maybe has a few bumps like this. Definitely Monza, but I mean, also, can you even classify that as a regular oval track? But this is, I think, one of the bumpiest surfaces in iRacing, and it's a constant knife's edge.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's what makes this racetrack interesting. That's why it's put on the schedule, too, as well, to give these guys a challenge. Obviously, best of the sim racers out there as far as plate tracks are concerned. That's what we have in this series. That's why this series is constantly 30-plus cars. These guys know what they're doing. But you throw a track like this, it's still, even for the best, the seasoned of veterans, when it comes to speedway racing, it still throws a loop for them, still throws a challenge out there. You got to be on top of it. It's not just literally turn left, hold it down to the floor. You have to play a little throttle control at times, too, as well, going through these corners, especially when the tires start to wear off. All those bumps, it makes a difference, and it's going to be a fun one to continue to watch here tonight. Field going to double up, though. We're going to get set to get back underway here as they cross the start-finish line. A couple drivers on their way up through the field already. One of those most notably up 10 spots so far, Dana Osborne, after starting in that 17th spot. Tommy Hall as well in that 29. He's made a pretty good improvement so far, 13 spots up from 26th to 13th. So the field doubling up. Cisco, and I'm sure that's not the last caution we'll see here tonight.
No, I don't think so, but I am interested to see what the 8 does up here now that he's kind of gotten a little bit of track position. That 64 has been holding steady in this top 10 right now, Alex Hallinar, and I'm going to keep an eye on that car all night. He's been looking for a good run here, and he might get it here. Definitely had some luck. Another car to keep your eye on, that 54 of Montsevice. He had a great run here when we were here last year in that throwback race, and I think he likes this Daytona '07 track. I think more than he likes the regular plate tracks. He's had a lot of success here. Won a couple races I can think of, not here but in other leagues. Montsevice might become a threat here, but they head through turn 3 right now. Another storyline to keep in mind there, Andy, that 89 car. Just like Josh Ball, Matt Quick kind of made his reintroduction into the series. He's back now. He's back for the remainder of the season, and he's been fast before, and he's looking to knock that chip off his shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just remember what happened before he left. Knocked off about 3 or 4 top 3 finishes in a row, so definitely one of those guys to keep an eye on as this race continues on. Pace car looking to duck away once again. It will do just that. Green flag will wave. Josh Hanner on the bottom side. A little bit of a slow start here. Third 3 car. Paul Servant up at the top. He'll get the jump and start finish line that time. It's all going to be about who can get stacked up the best here and get that run. Top side, though, they're nose to tail, 4 deep.
Yeah, they're doing a great job as they head down to turn 1 right now. And looks like Jorgensen's losing a little bit of ground on that 60 of Rod Flag. Now back up to the rear bumper. And Hanner, meanwhile, is going to float up to that top side. That's going to be teammate in each line. Well, it looked like he was going to, but then Paul Servant tried to leave him out to dry, and now it's going to go the opposite way. Paul Servant is going to get stuck on that outside. Absolutely no help for the 3. Looked like Frank Basile was thinking about trying to go out and help him, but meanwhile, Wofford on that inside. He's got that inside line moving, and Hallinar going to move to the top side of the track. He's going to try and take the lead. Not going to happen. He sticks a nose out. He's going to go up there. Going to go side by side for the lead. Wofford will have him at the line, but they're going to go 3 wide now.
Yeah, 3 wide, about 3 or 4 rows deep now across that start-finish line. Bottom side, the 8, Dana Osborne from 17th, we talked about it, up to 7th. How about 1st right now as they go through turn number 1? Still 3 wide behind these guys. It's not what you want. You got to hang on to it. You see a lot of movement out of that 78 car. How about the 02 there, dropping down to the apron, just saying, hey, man, I got to get out of this right now. And they'll settle things out now. 2 wide throughout the field. Wofford, though, with the advantage now as they head back to 3.
Wofford doing a great job on that outside. Now finally has his teammate behind him, Hanner, and Hanner is trying to do everything he can to get the 7 out front, but he just can't get away with this draft. Dana Osborne on the inside, though, getting pushed by another dark horse car. It's Bassini on the bottom, and they're going to head through the trial right now, and Osborne could play a wild card into this otherwise teammate-friendly top 4.
I'm just watching all these cars, both lanes, all over the place, up and down the racetrack, literally from all these bumps, the wear in these tires. I mean, it's just incredible how these guys hang on to it, and this is why it makes that 3-wide action just so intolerable, and the fact that they could even get through it like they did the last couple of laps is just absolutely amazing. Up towards the front of the field, the Wofford looked like he had the advantage here for a moment. Osborne's going to close that door with the help of Chris Bassini now, so they work their way back into 3 and 4. Top side's got 6 cars strong right now. The bottom side really with the advantage until they exit turn number 4.
And Osborne stayed on the throttle all the way through the corner, got the run, and has got the lead here across the line. It's going to be first lap led for that Nationwide Chevrolet right now. And now Bassini gets a huge run from Frank Basilia there on the bottom. They're going to head down to turn 1. Basilia doing everything he can to push the one to the lead. And right behind him, he's maybe looking to the outside, trying to side draft a little bit. These cars bouncing around all over the place. Basilia out of turn 2, right on the back bumper of Bassini.
Right on the back bumper, you can see the top side get the advantage off of the corners, off of turn 2, off of turn 4. This is where that top side gets its advantage. The problem is they can't hang on to it for the full time around this racetrack, so that's why you see, oh, more trouble, Josh Ball back onto the apron. It looks like he's going to save it. More cars. He's just trying to keep it down there. It looks like he does. We'll stay green and we'll stay side by side for the lead. Osborne will lead this lap as well.
And that's the second time now that Josh Ball's got sent to that inside below the yellow line. He's got to be careful. A little bit more of a sharp apron here than what we see at the 2011 track. And as a result, Ball just got loose once again. Got out of the throttle, went to the bottom. Didn't want to cause an incident. So everyone's safe through there. Now back up to the lead. Chris Bassini up to the inside. Not going to do it. The block didn't work. Sideways. Caution is out. Huge wreck.
Wow, right there, the one car just wanted to get up to the top to block that momentum, got up there, Dana Osborne got into the back of him. Nothing that 8 could do. I mean, you can't lift in a situation like that, and you're not ready for it. Came up the racetrack, went right back down, thought everybody was going to escape for it, but unfortunately, that one car just got hooked back around there, the tires caught that racetrack, sent him back up the racetrack and right into traffic, and heavy damage by a lot of cars right there. See a lot of smoke on the racetrack as well too from some of these damaged race cars. So big problems. Caution number 2 coming out on lap number 12. This will definitely shake things up once again here as we pace around this place at 80 miles an hour.
And you know, we're going to talk a lot about these bumps tonight, and you know, I mentioned it before, a knife's edge. That's really what we're dealing with here. These cars are constantly like you saw with the one car there. If we were at the other Daytona, that would have just been a block. Everything would have been fine. The one would have blocked the lane, but he got it on the kind of off. What's the word I'm looking for? Off the banking there, off a 2, and that just upsets an already very upset car. And you know, what are you going to do in that scenario? He tried to power out of it. Not going to happen. You can't really lock up the brakes because you don't know where the car is going to go. That might have been maybe the best idea. Maybe cut it to the left, lock the brakes, make sure you don't take out the pack. But in that scenario, if you're trying to power out of it, you can't get out of the gas because the car will just snap on you and turn in the right. You can't get on the gas because the car will just accelerate and go to the right. So you're kind of just along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, you definitely are right there. And it's one of those things... as pit road is open, the 8's going to stay out. Looks like 29 as well. Wofford, though, for the first time will head down pit road to get service to his vehicle. So a split decision once again, heading down pit road. Some in, some stay out. Lap number 15 going up on the board. We'll take a caution of our own as the field tries to get set to get back under the green flag conditions. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good, be a lion.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the tire model? Nothing?
Welcome back to the Superspeedway Cup Series live right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Cisco Scaramuzzo alongside Andy Kessler to bring you all the action. And Andy, well, we're, I believe, 2 cautions into tonight already, and these cars don't look happy out there. And we're gritting back up for a restart here. A couple fresh faces up at the front, and this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. 3 cars decided to stay out on that last caution, and most recent caution. I should say Dana Osborne, Tommy Hall, Dennis Cook. And then you got the rest of the field. The guys who decided to come down, take at least some sort of tires, 2 tires, maybe 4, but definitely fuel that thing up with Sunoco race fuel. Some of those guys, Christian Peterson needs a huge race tonight. It's good to see him up at the top 5 here. Granted, we're only 15 laps into this one here. Tons of time, 84 to go at the green flag here. So we get set to get back underway. That pace car will head down pit road, and the green flag will wave for Dana Osborne, and they all get up to speed. You see that gap behind the number 8 car? Rip that bottom side here on the restart. We're jumbling up towards the back there. Josh Ball down to the apron. Top side with the advantage now into turn number 1. This might be the opportunity Frank Busilia and Tommy Hall need to get clear of that 8 car as they head back into 1.
Yeah, and Hall is flying right now on that outside line. Got a great job. Oh, no, they're going to take him on the outside there. Basilia and his teammate Jorgensen, they looked like they were going to try something there. Didn't happen this time, though. Side by side down the back straightaway. Hall trying to side draft all he can. Same for Basilia as they head down. Hall is doing a great job with the push, I believe, from maybe his teammate, the 8. I'll have to double check on that, but nonetheless, those two working well together as they head through 3 and 4 right now. Basilia came down to side draft a little bit. We'll have to see if he gets the run off turn 4. Got a little loose. I don't think he'll have anything, Andy, as they head through the tri-oval, and Hall might get him here at the line just barely.
Side draft is not what you want to hear out of anybody's mouth at this racetrack, but the amount of movement these cars have right now, the side-to-side movement is absolutely phenomenal right now. A couple of those drivers that did like what they saw there off of turn 2 that first time, they're going to head towards the back. 32 is set to Merchant, Christian Peterson in that 23 as well. They had enough. They dropped right to the bottom below that yellow line on the back straightaway, let the whole field go, and they know there's plenty of time left in this one, and the way things are going here tonight, we're going to see a lot more cautions than just the 2 we've had so far. Frank Busilia, though, decides to take down to the bottom lane. He'll do that. Leave the 88 up to the top side. He'll lead them now off of turn number 4. He's got a lot of help from Tommy Hall. He cut the nose right off to get there. Him and the 8 of Dana Osborne now on that back bumper. That'll give a lap lead, an all-important bonus point as well, too, to that 94. Much needed here as Tommy Hall goes back to the outside.
That's not going to work.
Contact, the 88 and the 8. See if they can hang on to it. What a great job by Osborne to hang on to that thing there. We'll stay green.
And Osborne kept it out of the racing groove, and that pack is going to shrink even more. Those guys in the back there, we're seeing Garrett Atwell, Scott Warren back there in the 76. They basically got out of the gas there to make sure nothing bad happened. Nothing did, so we're still under green right now. But this pack is shrunk to about 8 cars, 9 if you include Berger. But Berger's starting to fall off that lead pack, and also you got Kelly Dahl out there in the middle of no man's land right now as it's going to go. Oh, they almost look 3 wide there for the lead, and Jorgensen's got some heavy damage on that left front.
I mean, a 3 wide action was only because that 94 got a little bit loose there off of turn number 4, and it just shows you how upset these cars are. We've been talking about it since the drop of the green flag, and even before that, just the amount of movement that these cars can actually happen on this racetrack. You can see it throughout on these corners. Look at that, right off there off of turn number 2 there. The 88 got real loose off the corner, but he had to get out of the throttle, and in doing so, topside with the advantage now back into turn number 3. Tommy Hall, you got the 64 of Hallinar, and you got the 15 as well. Greg Hooks, last week's winner, is up there in the top 5 once again.
Yeah, and Hallinar doing a great job trying to bring the 15 of Hooks along with him, but it's, well, that outside line, they just got blitzed on the bottom by Frank Basilia and Mark Jorgensen. They got a great run through 3 and 4 at the line. Basilia by about an inch, but he got him there for another lap lead, and now Hall back to the lead. But this battle is going to keep going on. It looks like the outside line it can get a little bit more formed up out of 4, but I think that bottom side has a little bit of an advantage when they come out of turn 2.
Yeah, they have a slight bit of an advantage right there. But how about the 99-24? We mentioned them just a moment ago being off the pace of this pack. About 3 or 4 car lengths separating them from any sort of draft, but here they are now. They were able to make it up into this pack, so that just goes to show you a little bit about this draft package and how much these cars can actually suck up to the back bumper of them, and it doesn't take much, and they were able to gain that time back up. So Kelly Dahl on the top side, 4th in line. It's a good top 7 spot right now for that driver in the 99, looking for a good run here tonight, with closing in on the end of this season too as well. So that 99 still waiting for a trip to victory lane as well. The top 2, though, they're side by side, making the top 4 now, 2 rows deep, side by side as they work their way off 2.
Yeah, and the 19 of Dennis Cook and the 24 of Berger are starting to lose that bottom line a little bit. The cars are starting to get kind of away from each other, and you're seeing the top line take advantage because of that. They have 4 cars, or at least 3 cars right now, a little bit closer than the 2 cars on the bottom. Jorgensen, I would argue, is probably pushing more than what Hallinar is doing, but 3 cars are better. Oh no, they gets hook problems. That's going to be a caution right there.
Heavy damage to that number 64 of Alex Hallinar. All started, looked like a bump from behind from that 64. It sent him down to the bottom, right into that 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr. But once that happened, that was all she wrote right there for the rest of those drivers in that pack. And it's almost one of them things when that pack gets split like that, when there's only about 7 cars or so in that group, you would think that these guys would settle down a little bit, and not force the issue as much, just knowing we got just under 80 laps to get this thing complete here tonight. You would think that, maybe settle down a little bit. You got a pretty big gap to the rest of the field, but unfortunately right there, it didn't look like it took much to get that 64 turned sideways, but it was enough to get us under our 3rd caution of the night here on lap number 23.
Yeah, and it's basically the 88's night. He's been in what should have been 2 cautions, but really just won a little bit of a tap to the 29 there. I don't think he's terribly happy with Tommy Hall right now, but Jorgensen's car looks like it's already been through the wars, and we haven't even gone a quarter distance yet, so that car's going to have to come down, get some damage repair. I see some right front damage on the McDonald's machine of Frank Basilia. Looking back through, Chris Bassini, I think, looks pretty clean. It looks like he's going to stay out. I think he pitted under that last caution. I believe, yeah, the one is going to stay out here, so I'm getting some points is Chris Bassini. Everyone else, though, on pit road.
Yeah, much important lap led. Of course, he is leading the points at 9 points by 2 drivers. Garrett Atwell, Seth the Merchant, coming into tonight, so that bonus point definitely going to help him, seeing that those 2 drivers have yet to lead a lap. So you can already put him now 10 points at minimum ahead of those drivers here. Pit road, busy place. All the rest of the field coming down pit road. Some with fuel, some with tires, some with some damage repair too. Need Mark Jorgensen Jr., one of those guys that's going to be looking to get some of that damage, that heavy damage to that car on basically all 4 corners of that thing. Is just unbelievable what he can do with that. Obviously, these guys do get 1 reset in this league, so with these long races, that 1 reset, you don't want to burn it early. And that's why we see that 88 car just sitting on pit road, trying to take advantage of these long pace laps, get as much maybe possible damage as he can get fixed before getting back out there.
And we saw the 32 and the 23 drop back earlier in the race. They got out of line and kind of went back to the back. Well, Seth the Merchant stayed out now, and he is going to be the proverbial leader of this race unless he comes back down and maybe just tried to lead a lap, or provisional rather, I should say. But Basilia looks like he's going to fall in behind in second. That's Glenn Hedrick there you see on the inside, and he's got a lot of damage. I believe it's a lap down car, so I think he'll come back down to pit road before then. But nonetheless, Seth the Merchant deciding not to come down pit road at this time, Andy. And what do you think of that move? That run was a little bit longer than what we've seen so far. You think the 32's up for the task?
I think he's leading some laps, and I guarantee that when he gets onto the back straightaway after the first lap of green, you're probably going to see that 32 machine drop back to the bottom once again. So I think Seth the Merchant, a good call to stay out, lead some laps here. allows him to get those bonus points that we saw Chris Bassini get. So it's just going to help him. Obviously, it basically washes that out now for that driver and keeps him within contention. You don't want to come out of these races losing points. If you're going to lose them, you want to make it minimal. 1, 2, 3 points, that's it. But with only 2 races after tonight, you don't want to dig yourself into a hole like some of these guys have. 39, 45, 96 points out for Christian Peterson back in 11th spot. So you don't want to put yourself in a hole that big, because climbing out of that is absolutely basically impossible. So you want to keep yourself within striking distance, and in doing so, doing things like you see the 32 right now, staying out, getting that lap lead, getting that important bonus point. We know the way this race is going, you're going to get cautions. There's no point in forcing the issue. I guarantee you'll see him drop to the bottom on that backstretch.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw Seth the Merchant do that. But nonetheless, you look back in the pack, Andrew Berger hasn't had the chase he's been looking for, Andy. And, last season was definitely a threat there. And did he win it last year?
Yeah.
My history? Okay, good. I'm not crazy then. All right. But
no, he picked up his third championship, career championship. So that was a pretty cool feat for that 24, for the driver, the number 24 there. So, he's one of those guys that I mentioned earlier, Cisco, that's basically right at that cut line. Andrew Berger, 23 back, 25 for Frank Busilla. You look at those two guys, they got to have a big night tonight. You see them right now, second, third right now on the board. This is what they need to do. They need to be up front. They need to lead laps, but they got to stay here. They got to be here at the end. This is how they're going to make up points on Seth the Merchant, Rodney Wofford, those guys. Will it only be 5 or 6 points? That's fine. It puts them under 20 with 2 to go. So it just makes it that much easier and that much possible for that opportunity to make up those points. Any of those guys out, we saw Mark Jorgensen Jr. with all the problems he's had to face here tonight. Still has that reset, but he's 35 points back. It's going to take a tall order, plus he's got to make sure those 6 guys in front of him in the point standings have trouble as well.
yeah, I'd say Berger and Basilia aren't quite in must-win scenarios just yet. I would say Jorgensen, though, and everyone behind him, Corey Henry, Chaburko, Riot, and Peterson, those are the guys that need a win, I think, at this point to basically have any shot. And, I mean, if you're looking at someone like a Christian Peterson, 96 points back, I don't even know if that's possible anymore, Andy. I just think by the amount of cars we've had in the series, I don't think Peterson will be able to make up that gap. If you're Jason Altman's, I really don't think. Yeah, I have to say, Jorgensen and Henry maybe, and Chaburko maybe. And I'd say Chaburko's probably the last guy who has a shot of it. Chaburko being 39 points back.
Yeah, the problem is Chaburko's not even here tonight.
Well, so now he's out. So
he's done.
He's done. Is Henry
Altman's
here?
is done. Jason Altman's is done. Christian Peterson's the only one here. So, it's going to be interesting to say the least. But a couple of those drivers not here tonight. But we'll keep an eye, of course, on that 24 and 94 as things go on. Pace car heading back down pit road. Green flag will wave once again. This time it's at 32 of Seth the Merchant leading us to the green flag. Bottom side, 3 cars strong here. Should give them the advantage as they head back to turn number 1.
Yeah, that's Atwell on the back bumper of Berger right there in that 04 machine. But that bottom line is really stacked up right now. They're doing a great job as they head down to turn 1 right now. Berger right on the back bumper of that 32 of the Merchant. And meanwhile on the top side, a little bit of a tandem. Ball jumped up to help his teammate Basilia there. Not able to do anything, though, as now Tommy Hall going to get on the back bumper of that 78. Matt Quick's back up in the fray of things now. He's the 4th car on that outside. Behind him, Dana Osborne. Meanwhile, on the inside, you got that 3-car breakaway, and then you have Dennis Cook and Scott Warren. Those are some of the guys. We don't see them up front as much in this series. I think they might have taken a chance, maybe gambled a little bit on pit strategy. So they're up here right now, the 76, the 19, and of course Kelly Dahl, who's been kind of fighting outside in this top 8, kind of top 10 range this whole night, and now Christian Peterson, who's also kind of found his way to maybe try and get to his teammate.
Yeah, looking for that. Seth the Merchant, though, has not dropped to the back just as of yet. I guess leading lane will help you decide whether you're going to go back or stay up front right now. Top side, though, a couple of teammates. A long time coming here from the 78 to get back into the series here. Give a little shove to that 94 Frank Russilli. Gives him the advantage now going down the back straightaway. In fact, he wanted to drop down to the bottom. It's going to cost him. Stuck in the middle now as Tommy Hall goes to the high side now with Josh Ball, and it's going to leave an open lane now. His teammate Andrew Berger will leave that bottom side open. Here comes Frank Basilia now looking to take the bottom side around that 32.
And it doesn't look like anyone wants to work with Seth right now. Doesn't really have a whole lot of friends up there. Berger got stuck on the apron there, able to save it. It got really dicey there through the trials. They head back down into one. Looks like they're too wide for now. It looks like everyone can catch their breath, at least for a moment. Everyone made it.
That was a veteran move by the 24 right there. Just get out of the throttle, work your way back up the racetrack there, gets himself back in the line, doesn't lose too much right there. They'll stack up just a bit on the bottom. Look at the top side with the run they got. 2 cars are going to clear now into turn number 3. Do they drop to the bottom or do they not? Josh Ball does. He come down to the bottom with Seth the Merchant. Moves that 89 and Matt Quick now up to the high side with Dana Osborne. You see that movement. Tommy Hall moving up the racetrack there in turn number 4. It's awfully tough to get these guys around each other. It makes it tough to utilize that side draft as well, too. We mentioned many times on these super speedway races. Top 3, though, they're going to be single file. The top side, though, they're coming back. A little bit of momentum now into 1.
78 trying to look on the outside of the Merchant there. He's going to try and get a push from that 89 and Matt Quick. Dana Osborne also up there, kind of following that 89 wherever he goes. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Tommy Hall back to the back bumper of the 94 Basilia. There's the 5 cars strong down the bottom side. Meanwhile, on that top side, it's 4 cars with Christian Peterson trying to get up there and help.
Yeah, Peterson trying to get up into the mix now as well. Josh Ball will clear that 32 machine. He'll drop to the bottom. You can see him push up the racetrack in the center of the corner there. Not exactly what you want to do there. Seth the Merchant now goes to the top side. He'll move up there with the help of the 89 of Matt Quick, and he'll get this lap led as well as the 78 awaits the help of his teammate now finally to his back bumper. He'll surrender that top spot here. As you see that 23 dicing it up in the middle of the pack right there. He'll drop to the inside of the 04 of Garrett Atwell. Atwell, one of those guys with Seth the Merchant that found themselves 9 points out of this run here and right out of the championship standings. And he finds himself in this pack of top 7 here right now as they race down the back straightaway. One guy to keep an eye on, though, is that 1 car, Chris Passini right now, 4 seconds back in 15th. It's not what he wants to see is those 2 guys he's battling for that championship up there in the top 10.
Yeah, Passini, our championship leader, like you said, not what he wants right now, but I think maybe he does want this. Maybe he wants to stay out of the fray of the things. Back up to the lead right now, and at the line, Josh Ball got him for the first lap led for that Furniture Road Toyota tonight. And now Christian Peterson is in this lead pack. And Andy, we know who he's looking for. He's looking for his teammate in the 32, Seth the Merchant. He's not out there to help anyone else, but I think Seth.
Yeah, absolutely. Teammates is definitely something that comes into effect at these racetracks many times. Topside, how about that? What a move by Dana Osborne. He'll split the difference, go to the middle with a huge head of steam. Seth the Merchant will block it right there. He'll drop to the bottom. Leaves Osborne and Atwell now in that middle lane. Matt Quick, the biggest loser of that there, as the 04 will kind of maybe wants to go to the bottom, wants to go to the top. Seth the Merchant will go back to the top side. He'll block for the time being now as Josh Ball awaits some help to the bottom, the top side with the momentum. Dana Osborne in that second spot. Atwell now up to 3rd.
Just no one was able to get a good run to help the 78. As a result, Dana Osborne going to jump to the bottom of Seth the Merchant. You look, only 2 cars now separating those teammates of DeMerchant and Peterson. We bring it up because we've seen plenty of times here on LSRTV, once Peterson gets to DeMerchant and those 2 get up front, that's big problems for everyone in this race. Those 2 know how to make magic together, and they will dominate a race if you're not careful.
Oh, they absolutely will. We saw that, of course, the end of last season as well, too, with Kyle Manger in that 25 machine last season, and those guys dominated the end of a race there, 4 of them up to the front of the field, and just absolutely nobody could get around them. So you can definitely say it's in the back of the mind of most of these drivers up there. They don't want that 32 and 23 to get hooked up. We are still early, 34 laps up on the board right now, so getting closer and closer to that halfway point here, and it's kind of separated itself just a little bit here. 12 cars in this lead pack. Got to go all the way back to 13th to find that next pack there. 5 seconds back, and that's led by championship leader Chris Passini at the moment. Up front, not much has changed. Just 2 lanes. It's kind of dicing it out. Switching lanes is basically the name of the game right now for most of these drivers here. Tommy Hall, he'll drop out a line from behind that 23, drop to the inside. He'll move up a couple spots here, but you can see that movement off of turn number 4 at the front of the field. It's going to separate the top 2 on the bottom side just a bit. Caution out, trouble in the back pack.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look to figure out where that happened, Andy. And that looks like Rodney Wofford. That's big implications there for that 7 car. He did not need this tonight.
No, he didn't, but early enough for him there. Looks like he was helping that 1 car, Chris Bassini, out, and just ended up rubbing a little too much on that bumper. Got a little bit of help from that 21, getting his back bumper, taking some air off that spoiler, and going into the corner. It just made for an interesting spot for that 7 to be in. Hit the outside wall, but fortunate enough, he didn't make any contact. He didn't make any contact with another vehicle in there, so that's a good thing for him right now. So caution out for the 4th time here tonight. The field will catch the pace car into turn number 3. And it looks like Dana Osborne will be credited as your leader. Seth the Merchant, Josh Ball, Garrett Atwell, Frank Basilia, the drivers inside the top 5 currently. So we get set. Pit road's open. I assume that we're going to see the majority, if not all, the leaders heading down pit road, at least this time here. We'll see what kind of strategy is. We're still 15 laps from that halfway point of this one here tonight. Tons and tons of racing still left to go.
Actually, Dana Osborne going to stay out again here. I believe the 8 car stayed out on the last caution. He's going to stay out there yet again. Josh Ball, meanwhile, is going to lead everyone down pit road with the exception. Also, Tommy Hall looks like he also stayed out. But everyone else down pit road, and probably we'll see at least 2 tires.
Definitely will. 78 slides into his box. Left sides go up on that 78 machine, so left side tires and fuel only for that 78. He took right sides that last time, so he'll make it just a 2-tire stop. Once again, this time, the left sides on that 78 machine. So caution for the 4th time out. We'll let the field cycle around and get all separated and put in the line where they're supposed to be. We'll take this time to take a break of our own. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
It was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, you know, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography, and we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle where the rubber shows up on top of the ruts. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves developed depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
Welcome me back here to Daytona International Speedway, the Superspeedway Cup Series. Chase for the championship continues here at Daytona 07. Race number 2 of 4 for this championship hunt. Chris Passini came into the night 9 points ahead of Seth the Merchant and Garrett Atwell for that championship lead. Currently, that one car shown in the 10th spot, while the 32 just a few ahead in 7th. The field doubled up as we work our way under our 5th caution of the night, and we get set to get back underway. Only about 12 laps from that halfway point here as they get ready to make their way to the start-finish line. The pace car will look to the safety of pit road. Dana Osborne, Tommy Hall, they'll lead the way back to the screen flag. But how about that 99? Kelly Dahl getting it done here early. He's sitting in that 3rd spot. Prime position to be in right when you need to be. Green flag back in the air. Good jump on the outside. Josh Ball on that back bumper. Get that top side of the advantage back in one.
Look at the gap that Ball has between himself and Christian Peterson. That's a huge gap there. And that top line is going to get checked up a little bit as they head down to turn 1. Down to Dana Osborne on that bottom side, trying to do everything he can. Side draft, a lot of side draft there, and big problems because the 23 and 32, they found each other now. They're going to try and work together. Seth got really loose there in 1 and 2. And now Passini on the bottom. There they go.
More problems. The one that Chris Passini involved with that one. 3 or 4 calls involved of caution flag should be thrown at some point by the administrative people. There it is. Caution flag will be waved for the 6th time here tonight. It all started with that one car, Chris Passini. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it started with the one car. It started with the checkup on the top side there. It really basically just squeezed that one car out of position, went all the way back down, and when he did that, the 76 got touched. And that's when it all broke out from there. So caution once again out, 6th time here tonight, lap number 39, and we get to do it all over again.
Yeah, and we're looking at the replay right now to see what happened, and the 04 goes up, and basically the one car there went up the hill a little bit. The 04 got on the brakes, and the one just, I think, got a little tag from the back by Mark Jorgensen. They went around. Scott Warren basically had nowhere to go. Glenn Hendrick, basically just another innocent victim in that whole thing. The one really couldn't do anything, and that's what happens when you get on the brakes at 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't even have to get on the brakes. Just let off the throttle like you saw that 04 doing. You can see how quickly everybody stacks up into each other here as well, going almost 200 miles an hour. So the field getting slowed up. Josh Ball showing your current leader. Dana Osborne rides in 2nd, Tommy Hall 3rd, Christian Peterson up to that 4th spot. Kelly Dahl now sits in 5th. They were all just basically down pit road. If we see anybody come down, you might see that 29 and maybe that 8 come down to pit road. But other than that, the field most likely should stay out here. Looks like a couple of drivers already to the apron. Kelly Dahl in the 99. He will be the first one to head down the pit lane from the 5th spot. So that 99 will have to go all the way to the back of this one. So Tommy Hall gets lead as scoring cycles back through here. We'll get these guys set to get back underway, Cisco, but I'll tell you what, a lot of things coming up on LSRTV here. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a slow time here for everybody, all the leagues getting finished up when they did, but coming up this month, just a couple weeks away on the 12th, next Saturday. You can't forget about the United Sim Racing Truck Series getting back underway, 10 p.m. Eastern Saturday nights. That should be a lot of fun to get that all going. And then what about Tuesday night coming up here this week on the 8th of November? we get back in a new thing, a Road to Pro for a NASCAR iRacing Peak Antifreeze Series. It's just a kind of a neat way, a different way for these for drivers in all of iRacing. You got a high enough I rating, you're going to be in that top split. You got an opportunity to make a name for yourself, to put yourself in that ability to qualify for that NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series coming up in February.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're looking forward to that. All the coverage for the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series is going to be live right here on LSRTV. We'll be on the iRacing channel at that point. There will be plenty of redirect links. It'll be on iRacing Live, of course, so if you're watching our broadcast on the iRacing Live page, you won't have to go anywhere. It'll be right up there Tuesday night. That'll probably start coverage around 8:45. The race will start around 9 o'clock, but I'm excited, Andy, because one of our own is going to be driving in that series. Well, I guess one of our own is going to be driving, one may be crew chiefing. We don't know how that's going to turn out yet, but I do know that one of our own is going to be driving in that series. Tyler Herr going to be heading up one of the cars for Dead Zone Racing, so that's going to be really cool to see. And like you said, this is a chance where there are going to be guys in the Pro Series this year that everyone in iRacing knows that they're a good driver, but they've never been able to get that shot until now. Guys, we're talking about guys like Dave Washington, a couple of the storylines that we're going to be looking at when that comes to pass. Guys like Brian Schoenberg, the old veteran, wily veteran, trying to make his way back into the Peak Series. The interesting story of Ryan Luza and his kind of road to get back into the good graces and, basically to get back out there and show that he's worthy to be in this series. And then, guys like Tyler Herr, who, have really been at peaking this season and want to make a name for themselves. A lot of great storylines as we look towards that road to Pro as it starts on Tuesday.
Now, I'll tell you what, the official servers have been very busy over the last couple of months with a lot of guys trying to up their I rating to get it up there because they know, I'm telling you, to get into that top split, you're going to need a 6,000 plus I rating to get up in there and compete with these guys to get those maximum amount of points that you're going to need to be in, to get yourself qualified, to be able to qualify basically for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on that. Of course, in the rooms, each and every week, there's going to be a handful or 10, 15 drivers we're going to see each and every week, but there's going to be some other guys that are going to surprise you that aren't going to be there some weeks, but then show up. And you know what? With the right setups and the right backing from certain teams or certain individuals, they might have an opportunity, like we've been talking about, to make a name for themselves, put them up there, maybe catch the eye of some of those big name teams that are up there in the NASCAR iRacing Peak Antifreeze Series. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on that over the course of this winter months here every Tuesday night right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. So hopefully everybody tunes in for that because we're in for a world of a show, I think, for that one there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on that. So a lot of things have been a little slow over the last month or so, but it's just going to start picking back up here as we head closer and closer to the holiday season this year. So can't believe it's already November, Cisco, and I can't believe it. It's already November.
Yep, it's already November, and we're gearing back up to go at it, and just kind of things starting to swing back into season for us. We're looking forward to it, and we're already thinking about February again, and the season isn't even over yet, and we're starting to think about Daytona in 2017 and the new rules packages and all that sort of thing that's going to be coming to iRacing. And of course, all the big changes. Yep, all the big changes that we're going to see in December. That, the switch, the full switch to DX11, all sorts of new shaders and graphics and all sorts of stuff that the team in Boston's been working on, and all of that coming to pass hopefully soon in the December build for iRacing. And of course, like you mentioned, the infamous dirt update that they still haven't said it's December yet, but we all have.
We're all thinking around Christmas sometime it'll happen, but you never know. They don't want to say it because it might be March. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We know what's coming. We've seen the videos. We've seen the still shots. We know they're working hard on it. So it's just a matter of time when we'll see that come out too. We can't forget all the stuff going on still. Closing out the season. How about Full Throttle Cup Series on Monday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on LSRTV. 2 more races to get your chance in the final, the top 4, the chase for that championship as well too. So a lot of things happening. Tune in here every single night of the week. Green flag back in the air though here at Daytona. Tommy Hall will get the jump on that bottom side. There's some separation there, so it's going to leave it a drag race now. We got some problems. Looks like the 33, tough time getting going a little further deeper into the field. There's a huge gap between him and the 19 now of Dennis Cook on the top side. Looks like maybe a loss of power for that 33, because still struggling to get up to speed. Kind of checking up the field back there. Up front, though, it's side-by-side action. Matt Quick going to get bumped out to the bottom. He'll get back up to the racetrack, and we'll see what he can do from there. How about Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant? They're lined up, nose to tail. They just got the 8 car in front of them as they make their way to 3.
Yeah, they are flying right now as we're going to jump on board with the 04 here in a moment. We're on board with Garrett Atwell now, just to see kind of that we keep talking about the bumps that these guys are going through. You got a great shot of it right outside the window net of that 04 car right now, and he's going to jump to the bottom side. Actually, no, it looked like he was going to maybe think about it, but not able to do it there. But Atwell, 195 miles an hour going through what is basically what looks like motocross yumps right there. That's how rough this racetrack is, this whole racing surface is. You can see a little bit of damage on that 8 car, so I have to see if maybe Seth the Merchant is going to ditch him as they head down the back straightaway, or coming up soon, because he's given a huge push to that 8 car, but that damage might be slowing him down just a little bit aerodynamically.
That could be just that right there. Top side had the advantage just for a moment back into turn number 3. Bottom side regains it now as the top pack has been split into 2 right now. 6 cars just behind these top 5 right now. They will get there. It's just a matter of time here. They're lined up pretty nicely right now. Matt Quick on the back bumper, that 23 of Christian Peterson. Won't be too long. You'll see all these drivers back up there battling for this lead. Tommy Hall still continues that lead, that outside lane. The advantage he gets each and every inside into the turns is definitely paying off for him right now, because he's now cleared that bottom side. Here comes Atwell. He's going to split him 3 wide. Now he's going to play
that ain't gonna work
with the 8. Trouble for the 8. He's off and around on the back stretch. And Garrett Atwell will slow things down. Caution out once again.
That was Osborne going through the bus stop there that triggered the caution there. Was only a 2-car incident, so if that had kept green, they weren't going to throw the yellow for it, but because he went through the bus stop, that triggered the yellow by the sim. But we got the replay up right now on your screen. That was just trying to be a little bit too greedy there, trying to get a little bit too much. Atwell got one heck of a run, but tried to put the car there in the middle, just wasn't quite clear enough.
That's the problem with these super speedway races, is that you're so enthralled in your mind that you got to have that foot to the floor. You let off the throttle any little bit, you tap the brakes, you might lose the draft. That's why you see these guys make those aggressive moves like that. He had such a run, so rather than lift, he makes a hole for himself right in the middle. The problem is that hole closed pretty quickly when you start hitting those bumps and heading into the corners. So right there, down the back straightaway, some contact, sends the 8 car around. Doesn't look like too much damage to the 8, but he already had some damage. So we'll slow things down once again. Just before the halfway point here, we're under caution at Daytona International Speedway. We'll take this time to step aside one more time. And when we come back, we'll throw you through a Midway race break and a full field rundown as well. So Superspeedway Cup Series from Daytona 07 right here on iRacing Live.
You know, the straights are unbelievably long. The first time you come here, everyone tells you, you know, you'll be flat out 6th gear for 20 seconds. First time I was here, I lifted halfway down the straight. I didn't believe that it was still going. I was waiting to brake, and I was back on the power. And the Porsche curves are extremely fast and extremely narrow, so it's a tricky track. And you know, every year I've come here, you learn something new every time.
Le Mans is so fast. Wherever you accelerate, you are over 150 miles per hour. Going there, I realized everything you have done before was nothing.
Welcome back to the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Cisco Scaramuza alongside Andy Kessler to bring you all the action. And Andy, we're approaching that halfway point, so you know what that means.
Oh, God, yeah, it's halfway point. Let's take a look at our iRacing Midway race break, brought to you, of course, by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and much, much more. Currently, top of the board here under this caution flag, Tommy Hall leads the way. Dennis Cook sits second. Alex Hallinar currently runs in that third spot. Glenn Hedrick has made it from 29th up to 4th. 5th place is Dwayne Cooper from 32nd. 6th, that's Paul Servant. Garrett Atwell currently runs in the 7th spot. 8th goes to Seth the Merchant. Andrew Berger runs 9th. And Ramon Evans in that 83 from 20th. Well, he rounds out the top 10.
Josh Ball is running 11th right now. Matthew Quick in the 12th position. Christian Peterson runs 13th. 14th going to go to Mark Jorgensen. 15th will go to Frank Basilia. 16th to Dan Harrington. 17th Kelly Dahl. 18th Jared Haggerty. 19th Chris Bassini. And 20th is going to go to Josh Hanner.
21st currently is Scott Warren. Shane McEachin, haven't heard much of that driver tonight. He sits 22nd. 23rd right now, Larry Camp. Ray Rittenauer sits 24th. 25th goes to Rod Flagg. Tanner Mann sits 26th. 27th is the 8 of Dana Osborne. Derek Walker currently in the 28th spot. 29th is Brandon Monsivice. Rodney Wofford sits 30th. 31st is Travis Stewart. Joe Morgani is 32nd. Then you got Roger Stewart, the last car on the lead lap, in 33rd. And then Greg Hooks, last week's winner, 25 laps down in 24th. Christopher Berry rounds out the 35-car field. That has been your iRacing Midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, make sure you visit iRacing.com and sign up today. You can use the LSRTV promo code by entering PR-2016 LSRTV when you register for a new iRacing membership. You get the late model free of charge along with the 13 cars and 14 tracks that are included with a first-time subscription. That's again PR-2016 LSRTV for new members only. So we're halfway through this one here. 50 laps to go when the field takes the green flag next time by here. So a lot of things, a lot of storylines coming out of this one here, Cisco. A lot of it is just basically the handling of these cars, going through the corners, all the bumps. We've seen all the movement out of them. Guys getting basically over the bumps and down onto the apron. You lose control of the race car. We've seen a couple guys have to come back up the racetrack. We've seen guys forcing their way 3 wide, causing contact. It's been an interesting one, and we're only halfway through.
And I can't help but notice, but as we're coming to the green here, the 21 needs to get to the back bumper of the 19, and it's not really happening right now. Not sure what's going on over there.
Chinese trying to get a run.
There we go. Now he's back.
He gets back up there. Pace car drops stack down. Green flag will wave once again. Tommy Hall will lead the way to the green flag. Topside checking up a little bit. About that 4th or 5th car back there around the 24 of Andrew Berger. How about the bottom side? Top 3 on the bottom will basically get going here a lot quicker. 29 and Tommy Hall decides, I want that top side. He'll jump out in front of Dennis Cook, and in doing so, gives the bottom side the advantage. Now 2 cars are going to clear the field. It's Alex Hallinar and Dwayne Cooper.
Yeah, Hallinar got a great run going through 2 there with a little bit of help from Dwayne Cooper in that 00. And now Glenn Hedrick is going to jump to the outside there in front of the 21. The Good Wrench machines are both found each other finally, and they're going to try and make a run at him on the top side, but it doesn't look like they have much of a run. Atwell now going to come into the fray. Cooper hit the yellow line there. He's going to hold on to it. No big problems.
Oh, there's the big one right there. Everybody basically involved in that one there.
Yellow
I'll tell you what, you got to
again.
ride with the 99 on that one. I'll tell you what, he got on the brakes quickly there, and the C's basically parted for Kelly Dahl, but that's all it takes. We saw it. I just mentioned it right before the green flag. Guys hitting the apron. And Dwayne Cooper, one of those guys, did just that. Started 32nd here tonight. He was up there in that second spot on that bottom lane. Hit the apron. It didn't take much, Cisco. There he was. Got himself loose, got himself turned around right in front of the field, and heavy damage to the majority of the cars out there.
Yeah, and we're looking at it right now, and basically nowhere for anyone to go. I mean, the track was almost completely blocked right there. I have no idea how Kelly made it through that, but just on the brakes, great reaction timing for
Closed
the 99
his eyes.
car. Yeah, we're going to take a second look at that. So that was incredible right there.
Hey, he did the right thing, you know, honestly. He's not trying to move different lanes or nothing. Just get on the brakes, slow up as quick as he can. I'll tell you what, got awfully close with one of those cars right there, but lucky enough for him, he was able to get that slowed down just enough there. And I'll tell you what, breathe a sigh of relief for the driver of that 99, but that was actually an incredible job making it through all that carnage right there. One of the drivers I see with heavy damage and some smoke billowing out of it right now is that 29 of Tommy Hall, who has spent the majority of this race up towards the front of the field. And if he's already used his reset, it's going to be a long rest of the night for that driver of the 29. Alex Hallinar will come down pit road here under the caution flag. The rest of the field going to stay out on the racetrack, led by that 21 of Glenn Hedrick. So how about from 29th to 1st for the driver of the 21?
Yeah, not a bad recovery, but not the cleanest looking 21 car I've ever seen. There's a lot of cars on pit road right now that we do see. Kelly Dahl, a lot of cars coming down to damage fix. I can tell. Looks like Matt Quick has gotten that car fully repaired. Looks like Hallinar's got a clean car now. But Hedrick's, that's not the cleanest and straightest looking 21 I've ever seen, that's for sure.
No, but it's good enough to get him out.
Hey, if the engine works and the aero isn't damaged too badly, I mean, why not?
Hey, listen, it got him up to the front of the field. He was able to stay there on that start too as well.
You think that's a certified pre-owned car up there?
I don't know if it's certified anymore, but it could have been.
But yeah, and we talk about that aero, and that's such a big factor here at these plate tracks. A little, maybe not as important at one of the smooth plate tracks like Daytona 2011 or Talladega, but that car, something's gonna be wrong with that 21. I just don't think he'll be able to keep up at the front with a car looking like that. Even if the motor's fine, I just think there's going to be a little bit too much of a hole in the air. I don't think the 21's going to be able to do a whole lot leading a line.
Well, I mean, think about the movement these cars are having problems with going through these corners, getting pushed side to side. And that's with the perfect car early in the race. And now you see damage on the front end and basically both sides of that 21 machine. So you definitely got to figure that the bumps and when that car starts moving, it's definitely going to affect it quite a bit. So whoever's going to be on his or behind him, I should say, on the start, that's going to be the guy that's going to have to keep an eye on what's going on. How about the 21? He said, "Out of heck with it. I'll go into pit road." So we can scratch all that. He'll go back to the back of the pack here. Josh Ball will lead the way to the green flag. Andrew Berger, Shane McKeechin, Alex Hallinar, and Matt Quick, who's been very quiet up there in the top 10 here all night long right now. He will restart in that 5th spot. Mark Jorgensen Jr., one of those guys we talked about needing a phenomenal run. He's right there. We documented the couple of times he's been involved in some pretty heavy accidents out there. So to find himself still in 6th place here at this point in the race, that's a pretty good feat for that driver of the 88.
Yeah, and basically been in a couple cautions already. Just trying to survive right now is that 88 machine, and he's doing a great job. I mean, lowest he's been tonight has been 31st, so he's darn near last on track, but it's just been holding on, just keep plugging away at it, and he's gotten back up here. Also of note, Chris Bassini, he's back up towards the front of this field. That's what he needs. He needs to stay up at the front of this thing, and we look, he's running 8th right now, started 10th. Not bad, just, you know, if you're running in the top 10s, you don't have to worry too much about your points, especially when you have a caution-heavy race like this. If you can stay at least in the top 10, that'll get you through at least this week.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're talking about a guy like him, 9-point lead coming into tonight, it's all about minimizing the effects of the damage or minimizing the effects of the loss. And if he can come out of here losing 1, maybe 2 points to these drivers, still finds himself in a pretty good position with 2 weeks left to go. So Chris Piscini, I mean, that's one of the things he's watching. He's keeping an eye on that 04. He's keeping an eye on the 32, where those guys are currently right now. He's ahead of both of them, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter if he's 9th. It doesn't matter if he's 5th. As long as those guys are behind him, then he's going to be in the position he needs to be in. And right now, that's a good spot for him there in the 8th spot. Field going to double up. We'll get set to get back underway here. Lap number 55 going up on the board. We're only going to have 45 to go here, Cisco, this time. And it's, you know, the way things have gone, we run about 10, maybe 15 laps, get a caution. It's going to be over pretty quick. Some of these guys towards the back of the field, they got to make their moves now.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just have to see at this point what these guys are going to do, if they're going to take it easy, Andy. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I would also not be surprised if they don't, nonetheless, because these guys really haven't taken easy too much this whole time, and when they did, they got spread out, they ran pretty well, but everyone just got drafted back up together with this aero package, and that's how these cars drive. You're going to have a big pack at least at some point in this run. I guess we'll have to see how aggressive they get.
That's exactly what we're going to do. One of those guys is looking to be aggressive, the 88 Mark Jorgensen Jr., third in line on the top side, restarting that 6th spot. Chris Piscini just behind him. We'll keep an eye on those two drivers here. Andrew Berger right where he needs to be, up towards the front of the field. Teammate right next to him there on the bottom, Josh Ball. We know Josh Ball twice here tonight touched that apron or made some contact with some guys being on that bottom. It's caused him to have to go back to the back of the pack a couple of times. So he's been able to work his way to the front of the field a bunch of times here tonight. So that shows good for the driver, who's basically been out of the seat for quite a while over the course of this later summer and fall season here. So good to see him running well up towards the front of the field. Pace car's off, green flag back in the air. Tommy Hall looking for a big jump there, kind of lagged back just a bit. We'll have to get off the throttle just a bit here as the 88 has a hard time getting going on that top side. The bottom side will prevail now to turn number 1. At least one car clears ahead and rumble their way up through the gears.
Yeah, the 78 of Josh Ball doing a great job on that bottom side. He's got a great run there with Shane McEachin, who's found his way back up into the top 5 here. We talked about him before. Hadn't really heard a lot from that Dollar General Toyota. He's up here right now, and he's got Andrew Berger right on his rear bumper, and those guys are going to try and make a run on the outside. Meanwhile, on the inside, Matt Quick, Tommy Hall, and Josh Ball, they're trying to do everything they can to keep this lead.
Yeah, that they are. Matt Quick got to the bumper awfully quick. He'll keep the 78 up next to the 28 right now, at least as they work their way through 3 and 4. Off the corner, though, the advantage goes back to the top side here. Andrew Berger with a huge push to Shane McEachin. He'll get the lap led this time. Alex Hallner until the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. as well. Now the question is, how do they get themselves separated? The 78 right now on the bottom side, able to at least keep the momentum up when it matters. When they head the corner, he's not going to give up that position very easily, but we've seen that top side be the place to be. It's just a matter of keeping that car in control while you're up there.
Yeah, and if you can keep the car in control, get a couple cars behind you, we've seen that line been able to get a little bit more of an advantage on that bottom side as we're seeing right now. Those guys have a great run as they head down to turn 3. The bottom side will get a better run as they go through the corner. It's a little bit shorter, obviously, and it's a little bit easier to drive in, but when you get the run off the corner, the top side is you're going to get a little bit more speed, so the trade-off comes from there. Meanwhile, Josh Hanner on that top side now trying to give those guys a little bit of help, and Mark Jorgensen all over the back bumpers. Tommy Hall's going to get a little bit loose. He's going to spin to the inside, overcorrect, and caution.
Caution out, single car spin. So Tommy Hall did a great job keeping that thing down and away and not coming back up into the racetrack and not coming back up into the field. That would have spelled a lot of trouble for a lot of guys. Chris Bassini was right in the area of that as well, too. So the points leader breathing a little sigh of relief there. So caution out once again. I believe it's about the 7th one here tonight. Comes on lap number 58. And just over, I should say, that 40 lap to go mark here for these drivers in this one. A mixed batch goes down pit road and goes to get tires, gets fuel, 2 tires, right sides, maybe left sides. That's what's been the call all night long, I expect nonetheless this time here. So caution flag once again, and I'll tell you what, they get slowed down, get caught up to the pace car here. The 78 will continue to lead this one right now. He was just able to squeak out that lead from the 28 of Shane McEachin once that caution flag flew. So he'll maintain the top spot, lead some more laps for the driver in the number 78. Of course, it doesn't mean anything for him as far as the standing goes or the championship goes for this season. But still, that's a win. That's points that he's stealing away from these guys that are going for that championship.
And you're winning the race, too. I mean, at the end of the day, you still want to win one of these things if you're out there, whether or not you're in the chase. So Josh just going out there. He wants to show he can get back to victory lane, doing a great job of it tonight. And Shane McEachin, we didn't talk a whole lot about him. Obviously, one of the faster drivers in this series. We see him up front all the time. Well, we didn't see him up front for the last couple weeks here. He hasn't been here, or if he has, he hasn't really run up front. But this is the break he was looking for, and he's back up front, running second right now. And just a respectable day for a driver that started all the way back in 27th.
Yeah, definitely starting way in the back like he did. Obviously wanting to do that to avoid, contact with cars, avoid accidents. And it looks like he's done that for the majority of the night anyway, as it is. So now finds himself with some track position here late in the going. Pit road's open. Top four, they're going to head that way. Looks like a couple of drivers, starting with the 64 of Alex Hallinar in that fifth spot. He'll stay out on the racetrack. So pit road once again. Gonna be busy for these drivers. Huge shout out, one of our buddies out there in the Northwest there, Mylan Lacey, catching the broadcast here tonight. Welcome aboard, and congrats for watching this, and congratulations to your Raiders having a pretty good season out there with some rookies out there running the show. But good to see Mylan in the fray and keeping an eye on what's going on.
You're talking about football? Let's not talk about.
How about
football.
them Raiders?
Can we steer away from other?
Well, hey, how
teams?
about them Cubbies there, Cisco?
Oh yeah, I'm happy about that. Let's talk about the Cubbies then. I don't want to talk about football. There's nothing to talk about.
108 years. Talk about a championship drought. 108 years, 107 seasons, and they finally got it done. And I'll tell you what, they didn't make it easy on themselves. Down 3-1, and then I'll tell you what, that Game 7 was an epic one to say the least. I'm glad I tuned in and watched that whole thing.
Yeah, and I basically all of today was me watching the Cubs parade downtown. Wasn't able to go down, still at school, but watched it on TV. They had it on ESPN, and was watching that. Was listening to a bunch of sports analysts talking about how they thought it was the best game ever and all this sort of stuff. And what ended up being, I believe, what is being counted right now as the 7th biggest large group gathering in history, bar none, was the Cubs World Series parade that went downtown today. And a couple of people we know, Ian Plash was down there, my parents were down there, and it was, from what I could tell and from what I've heard, it was pretty crazy to be down there today in the Windy City. And of course, congratulations to all the fans and the whole team out there. Just an amazing season for those Cubbies. Super happy. I did get emotional that night. I'm a long-time Cubs fan. It's when your grandparents raise you watching it, your parents raise you watching it. It's kind of a big deal. So we basically now Cleveland. Well, they still got the Browns. Well,
no, they don't.
No.
Well, they're there, but hey, I'll tell you what. In all reality, and I know we're doing racing here, but I'll tell you what, that was. I gotta say, that was probably one of the better games I've ever seen. Just the way ups and downs, and one team getting a lead, the other team coming back, and just back and forth like that. I mean, all game long, the clutch hitting, the home runs. I mean, that was, the pitching, the drama with the pitching, and having John Lester, the starter, out there pitching 3 innings for him. And, and of course, I got a place in my heart for that guy for just being a Red Sox pitcher a couple times for a World Series for us. So, but no, just a phenomenal series, just a comeback for them to begin with. But then get it done in a game like that. That was a rain delay before the 10th inning. I mean, come on, that game had it all.
Yeah, that was. It'll go down as probably one of the best games in baseball history, I'm pretty sure, and if not, definitely one of the most emotional moments in probably all sports that I can think of. I mean, the longest drought in professional sports history, and it was snapped. So that's huge shout out, huge credit to all those guys. Is Mark Jorgensen having a little bit of fun, I think, with Alex Hallinar, and Josh Hanner up there right now, just shooting him 3 wide, making sure Alex is still awake, you know, checking in on him.
Maybe they're listening to us.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say Jorgensen, he's driving a blue and red car when we were used to seeing him in other cars, so I don't know, maybe a shout out to my cubbies from that. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, obviously, to see what happens in the years to come. They got a young team, so we'll see if they can. Maybe the floodgates are now open, like the Red Sox did.
Jason Altman's in chat, because I have it on my left window. I am watching you guys, and just I'm not even going to mention that because you know we're not about bashing drivers here. We don't like doing that, but I will say credit to that's a pretty funny joke by Mr. Altman's there, who's in the crowd here tonight, not on track. So, hello, Jason. Wondering why you aren't out there. He's probably making Facebook videos too much. That's why he's not out.
Yeah, you forgot they were racing. What's today? Oh, it's Friday. All right. Anyway, but field getting doubled up here. We'll get set back underway. Under 40 laps to go. It'll be 38 when we get to the green flag this next time by. So, big shout out to everybody tuning in here tonight, and hopefully we can get this one to the end, and we'll have an exciting finish.
Oh.
To say the least, but apparently I guess chat is blowing up now. So anyway.
No, I just knocked the water off my desk and onto my power strip. So.
We got all kinds of messes going on up here in the booth, but hey, why not? Wouldn't be Talladega 07. We just got through with Halloween. There could be some remnants of that still in the air as well, too. So we'll have to see. But the field getting ready to get back under green flag conditions here. Of course, your leader, Alex Hallinar, stayed out under this most recent caution. Josh Hanner as well. Mark Jorgensen Jr. right there in that third spot after all the issues he's had here tonight. Good to see that driver still back up there contending for this win here tonight. Pace car going to head back down to pit road. Green flag will wave. Jump by the bottom side there. Jorgensen will get on that back bumper. A little bit of a delay, but it's going to leave a drag race to the start-finish line. And the drag race continues now in both rows, 10 cars deep, side by side, now back into one.
Yeah, third row, a couple cars that haven't been up in the front, or at least in the top 5. Jared Haggerty and Kelly Dahl up here as well. Kind of fresh faces to this lead pack, and we're starting to see the guys kind of rotate back in. Guys like Frank Basilia and the 78 of Ball once again back up front. And Ray Rittenauer's kind of found his way back up to the front of this thing. Larry Camp, I see him back there. He's back there as well. Scott Warren also up in the front, but side by side, and Josh Hanner with a huge lead with help from Ramon Evans. They got a great lead as they head through turn 3 right now. Side by side, Ramon Evans with Alex Hallinar as they head through 4 right now, and Haggerty trying to get to the back bumper of the 83.
I'll tell you what, that was a pretty good move right there by Alex Hallinar. Those two guys on the top. Whoa, door bang right there. The 83 of Ramon Evans. Getting a little squirrely through the tri-oval there. Almost took out the 64 of Alex Hallinar. He'll be able to keep it straight there. It separates him just a little bit from that 2 machine of Josh Hanner. But we've seen Josh Hanner, we've seen him do this all season long when he gets up towards the front of the field. He has that opportunity to drop to the bottom, but chooses not to. Stays to the top side, wants to keep that momentum going on the top side, and he'll do that, at least for the time being right now. Ramon Evans still on the back bumper. Alex Hallinar, the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. We're trying to make a push on the bottom, side by side, door to door as they head back to 3.
Yeah, Hallinar got a great run going through into the corner there in turn 3. Turn 4, I think exit's probably going to go to Hanner here. That outside line's been able to get the advantage. That Mustang on the high side has just been able to get the power out as they come out of the corner, and he got him there at the line. So Hanner back to the lead, at least led that lap, but Hallinar trying to get back to the lead as well. Now got Jorgensen right behind him, dropped in behind. So a bunch of oh, no problems. Problems right there. Ramon Evans going to hold on to it. Jorgensen going to hold on to it. And Hallinar going to hold on to it. And somehow we made it out of that one.
Somehow we stay green flag racing, but how about the separation out throughout the field there? 2 or 3 cars. Oh, caution flag will wave. Someone finally going around the racetrack there. And
24 Berger.
Looks like Andrew Berger in the 24 machine there. Going to make the move to spin around here. So caution will wave once again here on lap number 65. Josh Hanner, though, will continue to lead the way as he makes his way to the pace car here on lap number 66. So the 24 of Andrew Berger having some problems. A replay will be up on your screen.
Yeah, and I don't really know what happened to the 24. That happened way too quick for me to see it there, but what looked like he jumped from the top side to the bottom, and I don't know if he just wasn't clear or what happened there, but came across the nose of, I believe that was the 83 of Ramon Evans, spun up in front of the track, and tried to correct it, didn't, and kind of spun to the infield there, brought it back up on track and parked the car, and luckily no one hit him there when he was sitting sideways across the track. But it's Daytona 07, Andy. We knew we knew this going into it. This track is bumpy. These cars are on knife's edges, and that's what we're seeing tonight.
It definitely is. Pit road will be open once again this time by, so we'll see if anybody switches up once again. Takes a gamble for this. Got to be getting close, though, to where they can make it to the end on fuel here, so it won't be a matter of time where you probably won't see any of the drivers head down pit road here at this point, getting closer to about 30 laps left to go in this one. So we're getting closer to that fuel window, so hopefully, or maybe, we'll see majority of these drivers head down to top this thing off to maybe possibly be able to save some fuel to get themselves to the end of this one. Pit road's open. The 2 car will come down. A few more will stay out. The majority of them stay out. Matt Quick and Josh Hanner to pit road. He'll surrender the lead.
Yeah, and Jared Haggerty going to inherit the lead here as everyone hits pit road. I think that's Jared's first lead lap that I can remember. Trying to think. Jared, of course, an old
first
time.
one tonight, at least.
Yeah, but kind of long, I guess. Back when I was still second producer and didn't really do anything.
I thought you were going to say second grade.
Oh, no.
It's been that long?
No. But back in the old days, Jared Haggerty, of course, was an announcer up there with you guys.
Yep.
Back in the old days. I don't know, it's not that old.
About 3 seasons
about a year ago.
So.
It was only a year ago, but
yeah, no, it feels like forever though. 3 seasons or more have passed, so definitely things. A lot has changed since that time there, but the 6 car going to show the way right now. We're going to step aside, some side-by-side action. Not that there's much action on the racetrack right now. We'll go to LSRTV nonstop, and we'll be back right after this on iRacing Live.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway, circa 07. We get set to get back underway. We'll have about 31 laps to go when we get the green flag here. Jared Haggerty continues to lead the way. Josh Ball still up front. Kelly Dahl having a fantastic run here tonight in that third spot, looking for the restart. Pace car getting set to get back onto pit road. It does. The green flag waves. We could jump on the bottom. Jared Haggerty, first time up front on the restart for that driver, the number 6. And he almost had the top side clear by himself. A little bit of a jumble up. Check up from the 33 now of Larry Camp on that top side. That was going to separate them just a bit here as Frank Fusilia finally gets that back bumper of Josh Ball. So some teammates now working together on the top side. Might spell trouble for the rest of the field here as the 6 Jared Haggerty is looking for that help from the 99 off the turn number 2.
And Haggerty's trying to get the run as best he can going down the backstretch. They're not going to do it. They're going to need help. Scott Warren to the back bumper now. And he's going to try and help push these guys. Meanwhile, a huge train of cars up on that high side. And Larry Camp just tried to apex the corner a little bit there. Got way up towards the wall. Didn't work there as Larry Camp's going to head through 3 and 4. Trying to get help. That's Shane McEachin, rather, right behind him. And speaking of Seth the Merchant, I mentioned him because he's starting to creep back into this picture.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Off turn number 4, though, that last time there, Kelly Dahl almost had a scare getting out of the apron in just a little bit. Able to get back up on the racetrack, not lose too much speed, but it definitely hurt that bottom side. It's going to give the advantage to the top side. 78, though, going to choose to stay up there for the time being. They'll wait for his teammate to get back to his bumper here. Larry Camp right there in the mix as well. Maybe possibly looking for some 3 wide with that run they just got out of turn number 2. The smart move, though, is to back off the throttle just a bit. Get back in line right now. And they'll race it out side by side now at the front of the field. A lot of drivers towards the back trying to make their way up towards the front of this field here. Seth the Merchant, third 23 as well of Christian Peterson. Those two drivers.
Oh, here we go.
Going on. There's trouble. Around goes the 33. Shane McEachin involved. It looks like Jorgensen involved as well. A couple other drivers through the grass there. At least 10 drivers involved in this one here. Another caution, lap 72.
And we're going to get a replay up for you as soon as we can. And it looks like Larry Camp kind of got shuffled to the outside there, and just a couple cars just bounced off of each other. It looked like the 33 even got in the wall a little bit there. So replay coming up for you right now. And yeah, that's once again just more cars get torn up, more sheet metal, and they'll be heading back to pit road to fix some more.
That absolutely would. We got Rod Flagg, league administrator, up here in the booth with us as well. And Rod, and we've seen this all night long. And of course, you saw it firsthand, involved in a couple of these accidents out there tonight. But is it the car? Is it the track? Is it? Me and Cisco, we speculate a little bit on it. The fact that these cars are so racy and that you get such a good run, and it makes these guys not want to lift. Just you're at a super speedway, you don't want to lift, and is that what it is? And they force the issue, try something a little bit different, and then you add the bumpiness of this track, and it just makes it that much more difficult.
Well, I think this particular accident, it was more the 33 coming in entrance of turn 3, and unfortunately he made some contact with the outside wall, and you can't really do that, especially at this track at Daytona 07, because it's such tight quarters, especially if you're 3 wide, you're more likely going to make contact. So in this situation, it looked like the 33 made contact with the outside wall, and then coming in at entrance of turn 3, it looked like he unfortunately went and made some contact with 28, which spun his car out. So again, tight quarters, and with this track being as bumpy and as tedious it is, just unfortunately was too much for 33.
I'll tell you, most leagues that we broadcast, we go through the championship run like we have been over the last month or so in most of the leagues, and one of those races is always that wild card of Talladega that's in the middle of the chase, and everyone's all nervous about it. And, oh my God, we got Talladega, and what can happen? But you guys have that each and every week here. I mean, at some point, I'd imagine the drivers just get immune to it. Anything can happen. It probably will happen. It doesn't matter if it's a chase race or race number 2 of the season. Is that the case for you guys? You're just so used to it that it could happen. There's nothing. It's out of your control, basically.
I mean, it's plate racing. Yeah, you always expect that if some incident happens, you're probably eligible to get into that accident. I think Daytona 07 is probably one of the worst places to get as far as getting caught up in a wreck because you're in as much tight quarters and you're also battling the track. I mean, this is like the Darlington for us, literally. This is like when we come here. This is like Darlington for us because you're racing the track and you're trying to race your competitors. So Talladega I think is actually kind of on the mild side in my opinion. You have a lot of space, but you also, just like you said, we get 3 and 4 wide, sometimes 5 wide, and when people start pushing the button, it really creates a situation where you're potentially, going to be looking at if somebody wrecks in front of you, you're going to be involved in it. And for example, tonight, unfortunately, I was just trying to avoid a wreck for before my first reset and gotten somebody else's wreck and then the wreck about 20 laps ago or so, I got involved in a wreck too, and it was just trying to avoid a wreck, and so nothing I controlled. I started P3 tonight. Everything out of my control actually. I'm out of the race, so it's plate racing,
Yeah, no, I know. That's what. I guess that's why I like the league, and I'm so intrigued with this league. And probably about 4 or 5 seasons. I don't even remember now how long, but back when I first was asked to jump on with Evan and do these races, I was like, man, super speedways every week, really? And it kind of gets your mind like, really? Like, there's a lot of. I love it. It's just. I think it's that whole unknown, and I think the fact it just shows because of the unknown of super speedway racing. It's just so hard. To put a full season together. It's so hard to get a win at these racetracks, at these races with, these 30 plus car fields every week, and then to throw in a 4-race chase. I mean, you basically got a lot of it's luck. You got to have luck on your side. You got to be able to get to the front to begin with, which we know all these drivers are capable of in this league. So, I mean, it's just. I guess the frustrating part, we've seen guys struggle over a couple seasons, the 88, and took him a long time to get back to victory lane. He finally did. The reason we haven't seen so many multi-time champions in this series is for that reason. There's that much talent. There's that much that can happen each and every week. And then to throw it into it, you got to chase. There's just a lot that goes into it. And to crown a champion at the end of the season, I'll tell you what, whoever it is, they earned it.
Absolutely. And the only thing I can reflect back to is, when I won the season, I think it's season 8 championship, it was back when we were doing Superspeedway. It was, I think, the second season. Or third season or something like that. I mean, it's hard since we re-affiliated all the results. But that season, it felt like the seas parted ways. When I was trying to avoid an accident, everything would go my way that season, and it is a lot of luck. And I'd say when you're racing super speedway, it's probably 50-50. 50% of it is putting yourself in the right position. 50% of it is avoiding contact with your competitors and avoiding their wrecks, because again, you can't control a lot of these things when you're in such tight quarters in the drafts. And so what I can relate to it is when you are in a championship season, everything goes your way, every C part's your way, and you just end up being in a good position at the right time. And when I ended up beating, I believe it was Greg Hooks in the season 8 championship, we just happened to have a better race than Shane McEachin and Greg Hooks. It just happened to have that last race, and we I think we came in an underdog in that race. But again, you just have to be in the right place at the right time.
That's what it all comes down to, and we'll see who can be in the right place at the right time here for this one. 25 laps to go when we get the green flag. Pace car's going to head back down there. Green flag will wave, and Josh Ball will lead the way. Topside, no help though. Cisco, that 6 car, left out the drive for the time being. 76 got Warren, not the jump he wanted, and you see the 99 Kelly Dahl taking advantage of it. He'll jump to the outside. Now Josh Ball's left with no one to help.
Yeah, Kelly's going to drive right up to the back bumper, the 6 right there of Haggerty. They're going to try and make a run at it. Now Scott Warren going to maybe look to the middle. Isn't going to make it 3 wide, though. He's going to drop in back behind the 99 of Kelly Dahl as they come out of turn 2 right there. And the 6 and the 99 are trying to get that outside line rolling again, but it might be too late because, look, Matt Quick and the 77 of, I believe that's Travis Stewart down there, are trying to get that bottom line going as well. And yes, that is Travis Stewart in the 77. And Mark Jorgensen, he got a fresh car. We saw it smoking earlier, but they got the backup car out.
I'll tell you what, that 88 has been up to the front, to the back, involved in more accidents than I can count here tonight. And yet he's still up to the front. More trouble, though. He door-to-door contact with the 21 of Glenn Hedrick. He'll spin down to the inside, single car. It'll separate the field just a bit. We'll stay green flag for the time being, and it looks like we will stay green flag racing, as now the field split up just a bit here.
Josh Ball.
Wow, that was close right there. The 78 coming off of turn 2 just seems like a tricky corner here tonight with these cars and with this track condition that we have here tonight. So right there, Josh Ball avoiding another apron mishap that he's had a couple of those here tonight that we've documented. Oh, he almost gets it again right there. Almost pushes up into Jared Haggerty on that top side. And man, I'll tell you what, it's heating up here as we close in on 20 to go.
Yeah, that 78, he's either got a magnet to the all-line or something, because he keeps having trouble with it. He's had trouble since the beginning of the race. Hasn't really gone well for him all race, so he's got to figure out, maybe run off the bottom just a little bit or watch out for the bumps, because he keeps getting welded down to that bottom line and he keeps shooting his car up the track, but he's got to be careful. Meanwhile, Kelly Dahl back behind the 6 car, trying to do everything he can to push Haggerty up there, but Tommy Hall on the inside was able to get through the air and get up right to the back bumper of Josh Ball. Now Mark Jorgensen, he flew through the pack. That clean car is probably helping a little bit, as he's brought Rodney Wofford with him as well.
Yeah, that separation we had between this front pack was separated for about a lap. Now everybody's caught back up again. How about the 9 involved up here as well? Tanner Mann, we saw the trouble he had on lap number 1. And he decided to stay to the back all race long. Finds himself now inside the top 10 when it matters the most. More contact through the tri-oval. The 89 of Matt Quick now to the bottom. We'll see if he can keep it down there. Some contact with Scott Warren in the 76. Caution will come out once again here on lap number 79. And now the field will slow back up. We'll have to do this all over again.
Yep, that was the 89 going through that road course section that triggered the yellow in that case there. So replay going to come up on screen here, but yeah, it just seems like who's going to hit the apron next. It's almost like, you know, you're not sure what's going to happen, but these bumps, it just upsets your car, and it looks like one person after another keeps getting eaten by that apron. Daytona claims another victim.
Yeah, at least the whole field wasn't involved in this one here. So another caution. I've lost count. I don't know, we're up to 8, 10 maybe. Here, caution flag
out. The graphic says 11.
11. Sorry, we're up to 11. We're in the double digits now. Caution number 11 out on the speedway. And it's going to give us 21 laps right now as the field's still trying to catch up to the pace car here. Jared Haggerty, though, continues to lead now after starting in the 19th spot. Good to see that 6 car up to the front of the field. I still tell you, though, I'm impressed with that 99 here tonight. Kelly Dahl has been up to the front, and we've seen him up front this season running well, but it just always seems that something seems to happen to him towards the later stage of the race. Hopefully tonight is not the night for the 99. He's had a fantastic run here tonight, so hopefully we might possibly see him end a 108-year drought and get his first victory at the Superspeedway Cup Series.
Wow.
Wow. All right. Well,
maybe it's 108 races. I don't know. Maybe my numbers.
Well, I know Kelly would want us to stop talking about him because we're going to jinx him, so I'll move it along.
Well, that's
here.
why I am talking about him.
Oh, that's why you are talking about him? All right. Well, I said we don't bash drivers, but apparently Andy does.
I'm not bashing him. What I'm doing is setting him up for failure. So when it happens, he has somebody to blame. That's all.
Oh, okay. So like every other time you call him out in races, and then something happens and he yells at you.
We know we love you, Kelly. We're just busting your chops, but we'll see what happens here. Caution out, pace car making its way off of turn number 4. We'll see if anybody comes down pit road. We got to be within that window. I thought we were last time, but maybe we'll see some guys come down pit road or not. Nope. But at least the top 4 right now will stay out on the racetrack there. Actually, let's make it the whole field. We'll have to wait till the 7 Rodney Wofford there coming from the 11th spot. He'll make his way down pit road. Car looks pretty clean, so it might just be a top off for him. Maybe to figure in there's maybe at least another caution out there as well too. So maybe moving to the back here to maybe dodge what could be a potential hazardous situation in the closing 20 laps. That's what we got left here. 20 laps to go here. Daytona 07. We'll see it all come back here. We'll go LSRTV nonstop so you don't miss any of the action at 80 miles an hour under the pace speed. And you're watching it right here, Superspeedway Cup Series on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
You know, the straights are unbelievably long. The first time you come here, everyone tells you, you know, you'll be flat out sixth gear for 20 seconds. First time I was here, I lifted halfway down the straight. I didn't believe that it was still going. I was waiting to brake and I was back on the power. And the Porsche curves are extremely fast and extremely narrow, so it's a tricky track, and you know, every year I've come here, you learn something new every time.
Le Mans is so fast. Wherever you accelerate, you are over 150 miles per hour. Going there, I realized everything you have done before was nothing.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
Welcome back here to Daytona 07, yeah, Superspeedway Cup Series, and we're getting set to get this thing underway. It looks like about 17 laps. We'll get it said and done here when we take the green flag this next time. Jared Haggerty currently in the top spot. Josh Ball sits second. Third to Kelly Dahl. Tommy Hall sits fourth. Top five will be rounded out by that 76. Yeah, I did say that. By the 76 of Scott Warren, Dwayne Cooper, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Garrett Atwell. Good run for that driver in the 04. Good standings, too, as well. 9 points he came in tonight behind the number 1 of Chris Passini, currently in the 17th spot. So not where Chris Passini wants to be right now. Tanner Mann, Frank Vasilia, those guys will round out the top 10 here as we get set to get back underway. So we mentioned the points here. 9 points was the 32 and the 04. We're set back from the 1 of Chris Passini, Seth the Merchant. Well, he's back there right now with Chris Passini, sitting 1 spot behind him in 18th. So Garrett Atwell looking for a good run here tonight. And if things stay the way they are, this could be a good points night as well, too, for the driver of the number 04. So off of turn number 4, the field double filed, stacked up, ready to get back underway here. 17 laps is what we have to finish this one off here tonight. 2 more races left in the chase after tonight. It's going to be a long one until we get to crown this season's champion. Green flag back out underway. The bottom side gets a pretty good run right there. Some separation once again. Tommy Hall not quite to the bumper of that 78. Gives the advantage now to Jared Haggerty. So they work their way back into turn number 1.
Yeah, Haggerty got a great run on the bottom side there. So going to head through turn 1. Kelly Doe right on the back bumper of that 6 car. And 76 of Scott Warren also right on the back bumper. But now Josh Ball trying to get the run on the outside. He's going to have help from Tommy Hall and Andy. Took a look at the clock. We're starting to run out of time.
Yeah, 10 minutes left in the server. I mean, if we can keep this thing great, how about 3 wide now? Look at the middle run for the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. He wants to make a move to the front right now. He needs points to gain the 0-0, though. Dwayne Cooper is going to be the one that...
Ooh, Tommy Hall in the wall.
Everybody's going everywhere. To the apron for the 2 of Tanner, the 9 now off the track. I don't know what I'm saying.
There they go. Well, there was about 3 cautions there, and finally someone ran out of time, and well, we're back under yellow once again.
Wow.
There was about 5 different cautions.
What happened there, Rod? You want to swing us into this one?
Oh man,
where to begin?
I'm looking exactly. Looking at it right now, it looks like there was some contact between Jared Haggerty in the 6 and 78 of Josh Ball. What looks like his 6 came up out of turn number 4. Made some contact. Looked like Josh had it okay, and then Mark Jorgensen unfortunately made some 3 wide contact with the 99 And I think what ended up happening is 88 ended up getting into the 78. So we're in a, tight quarters, and it looked like the 88 potentially put us in here where we're going to be really against the clock, where we got about 5-6 minutes left, and we may get one restart. So we're definitely going to be ending this race early.
Well, Andy, I'll tell you one thing. I think Rodney Wofford gets the. We're not choosing a insurance company, but he gets the Good Hand Safe Driver Award tonight because holy cow, he made it through that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that made it through that. Ray Rittenauer, looking at the replay, watching him drive through there too. I mean, wow, that's all I got to say. There was so much going on all at once right there. I mean, it all started down the back straightaway. The 88 of Jorgensen had that run. We talked about it all night long, getting that run and just, I mean, especially being late in the race, but you're a super speedway guy. You don't take your foot off the gas. I mean, that's just not in the mentality. It's not in the makeup of these racetracks or these races. And you have that run, you're going to try to make a hole, and that's exactly what the 88 did. Was he made a hole right there, pushed it in there 3 wide. The first car that went up into the wall was the 00, Dwayne Cooper. It just exploded from there. I mean, all kinds of trouble all over the racetrack from guys reacting to what was going on. I mean, the 99, Kelly Dahl, involved a little bit. Doesn't look like a lot of damage to that 99 at all, but just definitely lost a lot of track position. So it's going to be interesting to see 15 laps to go right now as they run under caution. So time running out, about 8 minutes left on the server clock, 15 laps to go. It's going to be awfully close to be able to get this done. These guys got in the back of their mind, be thinking of the clock, not only what they got for laps left in this race here. So it's going to be a matter of who's out front where they need to be. And I think, like Rod just mentioned, we're going to only have about one restart left in this one by the time all these caution laps get ticked off here. So we'll probably have about 5 minutes on the clock, and we'll have roughly about 10 laps to get it done. And we're probably only going to get about 5 or 6 of those in. So the time to go is now. Well, it's been now, but this is going to be interesting this is going to be an interesting one here, to say the least, coming to the end, and some pretty big names with problems back towards the pack. Chris Bassini, points leader, coming in tonight, currently 19th on the board. Not what he needs. Seth the Merchant was able to squeeze through that. He's up to 10th right now. Garrett Atwell, how about him? Up to 4th after that caution right there. So Atwell's got himself prime in a position right now to be the championship leader if things stay the way they are right now. So Atwell doing what he needs to do here at the 07 track. And I'll tell you what, super speedway racing, this is what it is. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know when these wrecks are going to happen. And when they do, you just got to hope, like Rod had said earlier on, you got to be, that bit of luck's got to be on your side when you're going for a championship. And part of that luck, you look at the 04 up there, Garrett Atwell, 9 points back coming into tonight, up to 4th right now with the other guys towards the back of the field right now.
Yeah, and that's Chris Bassini's 23rd right now, so I believe as the points run, if it were to finish under yellow, Garrett Atwell would have your chase lead heading into the final race at Talladega.
No, 2 more races.
2 more. Well, final race at Talladega.
Oh, all right. Save yourself.
Before we go back to Daytona, because it's each of these tracks, and we talk about, Rod, kind of and I'll throw this to you, Rod, because that kind of idea, it's play track racing. Both the tracks are the same. We've seen in this series time and time again, Talladega and Daytona have very different races. And obviously, you throw Daytona 07, Daytona is completely different. But Daytona and Talladega are 2 very different tracks when you're out there in the race.
I was going to say, not so fast, Cisco, on the next week being the same.
Final race at Talladega.
Not so fast. Not so fast.
I think he just wants to have a break. I don't.
But you're right. We're in crunch time, and right now the person sitting pretty right now is Garrett Atwell. And where did Garrett Atwell come from? He's a guy who raced with us a few times when we were at Superspeedway, and then comes into this season as a rookie, and boy, oh boy, wins a race out of nowhere. Now he's sitting here, probably the favorite to win the championship if everything goes his way here on this restart. So Chris Bassini not having a good night. He definitely had some challenges early in the race. And when I was on the track earlier, he definitely had some issues with his car getting loose, or I think it was more probably of him being on old tires or taking 2 tires versus 4, and so it really put him in a bad spot. We look at Roddy Wofford. He's sitting okay right now in 13th place. But again, he came in here third or fourth in points. Andy Berger, again, there's another name. He was sitting in there fourth in points, and he's in there seventh place. So maybe he's sitting in an okay spot. So it's going to be interesting to see. Frank Bashila again is not having a really good night. Corey Henry, not quite seeing him doing so well either. So, and then again the suspension of Brandon and Jason. So, and then Christian missing that race. So it's going to really be interesting to see what happens on this restart. Really important here. We're going to get maybe a few laps. We'll find out.
And Andy, at least I won't have an angry driver trying to find me after the race for jinxing.
Yeah, it's only Kelly. He's from Canada, no harm. He's a Blue Jays fan. Where they at? Nah, they're not. All right, anyway. Kelly, we love you.
Tough crowd, huh?
It is a tough crowd up here in the booth on Friday nights. It's the end of the work week, so everybody's trying to vent and get their frustration out from a long week and get set for the weekend. We get to throw the clocks backwards, save an hour or something, I guess. Anyway, we get set to go back. A field stacked up 2 by 2. Looks like about 12 to go when we get the green flag. And the green flag is now. Pretty good jump outside, 88. Oh, check up with the 29. Tommy Hall. Looks like an engine has expired. Everybody trying to get around him. Cars are all over the place. The double zeros around. Caution will be out, and that's probably going to end this one. And look who's up front.
How did he do that? Because he just got the better jump on the restart there, Andy, and that's all it took.
We're going to look at the moment of caution, of course, but I mean, it appears that Mark may have got his third of the season.
Wow, when it rains, it pours, gentlemen. Caution flag out again. Like I said, it looked like the 29 just lost the engine right there. Nothing he could do, or basically anyone else. He tried like hell to get around.
Oh yeah,
him.
there it went. Yeah.
For the most part, it looked like the field was able to get around him, but the first car to have the issue was the double zero there of Dwayne Cooper, and unfortunately for him,
and Chris
that'll
Bassini
probably end his night as well too. It looks like Chris Bassini was involved in that one too. Unfortunately, points leader, not going to look good for him. I like the 04 though. Look at him up there in third right now. It's going to be a pretty good spot for that driver. He's going to be in a pretty good position here. Of course, Seth the Merchant right now currently running in the 7th spot. So probably be about a 3 or 4 point difference for Garrett Atwell at the top of the standings. We'll have to check that out later on. But unbelievable right there. Caution flag back out. The clock is down to 1:40. We got about 10 laps when they come around to the start-finish line left to go. Absolutely not going to get all 10 laps in. Not going to get probably another green flag lap in here in this one tonight. So Mark Jorgensen Jr., that restart was definitely the restart of the race for him. Just the trials and tribulations he has gone through tonight, the accidents he was involved in, a couple of them not of his doing. One there towards the end, 2 cautions before this, I believe, is 3 wide action there. Kind of caused a chain reaction, which caused one of the caution flags, but he was there. He's been up to the front most of the night here after qualifying 9th, and I'll tell you what, that's definitely one of those wins that you're going to remember that one for a while because you had to work so hard to get it.
Yeah, and you think Bark's going to be yelling and screaming in his room probably again?
Only if he doesn't want to wake up his wife, he won't.
It's stopped him before.
One thing I saw, guys, on that restart was I don't know if the 29 actually lost a motor on that. There, we actually have a rule in the Superspeedway Cup is you're not supposed to restart in the top 10, especially with 10 to go. We weren't quite 10 to go there, but he definitely did not have a car, validated to start where he did, and I think what ended up happening there is he ended up getting some contact from the 83 there, and unfortunately the 29 ended up expiring and causing that there. So that's unfortunately they're a car starting in the top 10 in the restart and not having a car capable of keeping up and potentially cause that to happen.
The white flag is out, Andy, and that means this is the last lap. The time has expired on the server, and I believe that means we're looking at our top 3 unofficially.
It looks like that's what we're going to look at. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Jared Haggerty, Garrett Atwell, Jorgensen. Third win of the season. How about that for that driver? We mentioned him a little bit ago there, Rod, and it's one of those things where the bad luck that he had for about 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, there was one season, I don't even think he finished a race. Never mind, contending for a win. And here he comes, back into the saddle, back into the swing of things. Third win on the season. Of course, he broke that at the end of last season there when he finally made his trip to victory lane. So pretty excited driver right there. And I do believe, did we get the checker that time? I'm not sure, but
this might be the white flag.
This might be the white flag right here. So it looks like one more trip around is the way the cars are looking right now. So another 2.5 miles for him to get around. Hopefully he's got enough fuel in that thing and there's no damage to blow that motor up. But Jorgensen looking good for his third win of the season.
And we joke about that sort of thing, but we've seen it happen before.
Oh, God, yes.
So this race, it's not over. I mean, the white flag's still out. They still got to make it all the way around. And if your car has a lot of damage, engine might expire. Any number of things might happen. A little bit, maybe you get knocked off connection. Who knows? But Mark Jorgensen right now looks pretty good.
It definitely looks pretty good. Looking for his 9th career win, just one shy of the double digits. Of course, there's only... I want to say there's 3 drivers. There's 3 drivers in the double digits. Of course, Rodney Wofford leads all time with 17. Brandon Chberger was 16. Shane McEachin had just gotten his 10th win this season, so he had made it to double digits. Now Mark Jorgensen Jr. will be only 1 race from getting that done too as well. Pretty good career milestone when you talk about plate track racing. And doing it all. I mean, it's just unbelievable to have that many wins. You know, some guys will struggle season after season after season just trying to get 1 win. But let alone getting 10 or even more on top of that when you look at guys like Wofford and Brandon Chberger. So off of turn number 4 for the final time, the checkered flag will be waving for these drivers. And Mark Jorgensen Jr. will pick up his 9th career win, 3rd of the season. Jared Haggerty, he'll come home 2nd, while Garrett Atwell will take the points lead with him with that 3rd place finish here tonight. We'll talk to the top 3 finishers when we come back from commercial. Well, let's first take a look at our full field rundown. Mark Jorgensen Jr., of course, picking up the win. Jared Haggerty coming home in the 2nd spot. 3rd goes to Garrett Atwell. Scott Warren will finish in the 4th spot. Top 5 for Alex Hallinar. Andrew Berger will rebound with the trouble he had. He'll finish in the 6th spot. 7th goes to Seth the Merchant. Shane McEachin will finish in that 8th spot. 9th goes to the 8 car of Dana Osborne. Rodney Wofford will round up the top 10.
11th's going to go to Ramon Evans in that 83. 12th's going to go to Ray Rittenauer at 2nd. 13th's going to go to Derek Walker. 14th to Brandon Cruz Monsivais. 15th will go to Christian Peterson. Joe Morganti will finish 16th. 17th will go to Frank Basilia. 18th to Travis Stewart. 19th to Matthew Quick. And Glenn Hedrick is going to finish 20th.
21st goes to what was the points leader, Chris Passini. 22nd will go to Kelly Dahl. Unfortunate for him, had a great run going here tonight. Of course, jinxed once again by yours truly. 23rd tonight will be the 78 of Josh Ball. Roger Stewart in the 5 will be the last car on the lead lap in 24th. 3 laps down, 25th, that goes to Dwayne Cooper. 26th to Tommy Hall. Josh Hanner will finish the field, or finish the race in 27th. 28th goes to Tanner Mann. Paul Sermon finishes 29th. 30th goes to Dan Harrington. And then the rest of these drivers off the racetrack here tonight. 31st to Larry Camp, Rod Flagg in 32nd. 33rd to Dennis Cook. Greg Hooks, last week's winner, will finish 34th. And rounding out the 35-car field here tonight will be the 02 of Christopher Berry. Lots of action happening down on the grass there on the infield here at the end of the conclusion of this one here. A few laps short of the scheduled distance, but nonetheless, Mark Jorgensen Jr. coming home with his 9th career win, 3rd of the season. We'll talk to him and the rest of the top 3 in just a moment. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography, and we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle, where the rubber shows up on top of the rut. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves develop depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
Welcome you back here to Daytona 07. We just concluded what was supposed to be a 250-mile race. Finished about 20 miles short or so. Nonetheless, we got ourselves a pretty good race out of this one here tonight. A lot of cautions, product of the track, product of a lot of things it could have been, but nonetheless, we have ourselves a winner, Mark Jorgensen Jr., down here in Victory Lane for the third time this season, the ninth time in his career. He will find himself in Victory Lane. Mark Jorgensen Jr., how about it, man? Third win of the season. The floodgates have opened for you. You got yourself back into the chase contention as well. But nonetheless, you got your ninth career win, third of the season, and here you are in Victory Lane once again.
Yeah, I guess this race was just attrition, man. I mean, I don't know. These guys, they vote on, certain cars at certain tracks, and, it just was a real shitty race all around. I mean,
Mark!
Sorry, Cisco, but anyways, picking up where I left off, it was a shitty race, from about lap 1 up to right up there to the finish. I mean, we didn't even get to finish all the laps, so that kind of sucks. But no, man, I was involved in quite a few mishaps, and just kind of just trying to save my reset. And I think about lap 72 or 73, I was involved in a big wreck. Ended up having motor damage, smoking all over the track, and ended up having to take my reset then. So, but after that, just kind of ran, kind of watching my words here, but kind of ran like an a-hole after that, trying to get back up to the front, and ended up making some moves, really aggressive moves. And, at times I think you got to be aggressive in this league. And obviously, sometimes, being aggressive, pays off. Ended up picking up my 9th career win. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you get yourself closer and closer to a milestone. Only 3 drivers are in that double-digit figure. You're 1 away from that, so that's a pretty good feat when that does happen. We talk about all the time how hard it is to win in this series. The amount of cars, the fact that it's restrictor play racing, luck's got to be on your side. We talk about your race and the amount of times contact was made with that 88. All over the place at a racetrack. I believe at least three of those cautions we saw you around sideways in there. So it's just one of them things, and how these races can go, not only a season but a race itself, go up and down, up and down. For yourself, you found yourself up towards the front when it mattered the most at the end of this thing, able to pull out a victory, and you came into the night, and we talked about it at the pre-race show. Right at that cutoff, I said those guys in 6th and 7th, Frank and yourself, 25, 35 points out. You had to have a big night. Tonight was your night. You had a big night. The problems with the one car, Chris Bassini finishing 21st, a huge point night. You were able to sizably lower that gap down to only 16 points looking at the current point standings right now. You find yourself 3rd, 16 points out of it now with 2 races. So the possibility's there to pick up the championship here. How do you focus and move this on into Talladega next week, and then once again at Daytona at the end of the season?
Oh, wow. First of all, back to the point situation. I mean, I'm not a guy that, looks at points, at all. I definitely go to the website, check myself out, this, that, and the other, but I'm not a point guy. The way I look at it, these 4 races, obviously there's 2 down and 2 to go. The way I look at it, if I just win every single race, obviously I'm going to be crowned the champion at the end of the season, so that'd be pretty cool. But I really think that, I'm going to need a lot of guys around me to, have misfortune in order for me to win. I can, guarantee that I probably made a lot of guys mad this evening, and, some rightfully so. Some, I think they need to go back and kind of take a look at some replays and whatnot. But, we'll get through it. But, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to going back to Talladega. I don't know what car we're going to be racing. Hopefully it's the A
Cup
car. Yeah. So running in the A car next week at Talladega, I think I won the last 2 races at Talladega. So really looking forward to going back and showing these guys, how you got to drive at times, and hopefully pick up a 10th win.
That'll be a pretty cool feat to pick up that 10th win, and, of course, a win would definitely help you out in the point standings as well. Obviously, what you can do is win. I mean, you win out here, then you just basically got to let the points ride as they are. So you got yourself there. You're in championship contention with 2 to go. Cup cars and Xfinity cars one more time at Daytona. Only 2 more weeks to get it done, Mark, but you find yourself victory lane here tonight. A much-needed win for you here tonight to get yourself back into that championship hunt. And with that said, sponsors, shout-outs, who helps you get that 88 car to the track?
Oh, Rod Flag for continuing to put this on, each and every week. It's, tonight was I had a blast, man. Like I said, I was involved in quite a few mishaps, but it's just about having fun and being in the team speak with a lot of the guys that I really like and care about. I think it's fun and just having a good time each and every Friday night. So I appreciate Rod for putting this on. LSRTV for doing an amazing job. The broadcasters up in the booth and Cisco behind the scenes, y'all do I can't use my BA word, but y'all do a pretty cool job. Like to thank Dell's Pale Ale for staying on board again on the Xfinity side. Like to give a huge shout out to Garrett Atwell. I don't think he gets a lot of credit in this league for kind of what he's doing. He is a championship driver, and so far, these 2 races in the chase, he's finished top 5. He finished 5th last week in the trucks and finished 3rd this week. But I want to give a shout out to him. That last restart, I had my left hand out that window and waving him on, try to get to my bumper so we can time that start just right. And I mean, he gave me one heck of a shot, to put me past Jared. And I don't know if it would have went green, if I would have been able to stay up front, because I had some damage on my car as well. But just a shout out to him, and he's doing a really good job this season. So hopefully he keeps it up. But other than that, man, I'm just looking forward to next Friday night.
That's what it's all about, Mark. And congratulations again, 9th win of your career here, and also 3rd win of the season. We'll see you next Friday night, hopefully in Victory Lane once again.
I appreciate it, Andy. Thanks again, and sorry, Cisco.
There he is, Mark Jorgensen Jr., picking up the victory here tonight, getting the job done when it matters the most, and he gets the win, knocks himself back into contention for this championship run as well. So I'm going to throw down pit road. Rod Flagg is caught up with second place finisher. It's Jared Haggerty.
All right, guys, I just got done taking off my driver's suit, and I'm going to go ahead and interview my buddy here, Jared Haggerty. And Jared, boy, oh boy, win number 4 just about happened there, and that restart must have killed you. I mean, sitting there leading a lot of the end of the race, and you get in here, and boy, oh boy, probably killing you right now sitting here P2.
Yeah, man, I can't tell you how disappointed I am coming in. I hate to lose one like that, but proud of the Labonte team over at Labonte Motorsports. They did a hell of a job. We made a bold call there. Around lap 60 caution, we made a call not to come in for fuel anymore and not come in at all anymore. So we made a really good call right there. I got to thank everybody on the team for one. I got to thank Kelly Dahl, Scott Warren, Larry Camp, Ramon Evans, and all the others. If I'm missing somebody, I apologize. But yeah, we had a great run today. Still a little disappointed though I couldn't come away with that victory.
Yeah, Jared, I know a lot of the race there, it seemed to be that Sour Patch Ford was I mean, it would continue to be strong, and I guess in that restart, kind of walk us through, I guess, what went through your mind there when that last caution came out, and how you were going to try to get through that restart, and what were you planning on doing, and how did you see that happening?
Well, luckily I had my teammate behind me, Scott Warren again, who on that first restart we did a great job. I had Kelly Dahl behind me actually. Unfortunately, he got wrecked out. And we had it all planned out, but I just did a little bit of mistiming on my restart, and that killed us in the end. And in the end, Garrett actually gave Mark the push to the end there, and he ended up getting the push or the little bump at the right time, just pushing right past me. But sucks to lose one like that, but hell, I finished second. It's first time up here in the booth this season. I'm overall pretty happy with the night.
Absolutely, Jared. It's a top 5 finish, and you're sitting pretty there as far as the the folks that are below the the 11 chasers who are currently racing for the championship. Tell us about your season, Jared. It's been probably a lot. You probably describe it a little bit up and down. I know you've been trying to race here as much as possible and racing to get in the chase there. But tell us how you've kind of got to this point there to be able to finish second.
The season itself has been up and down. Had a lot of good runs, but I've had a lot. When my runs have been bad, they've been absolutely horrible. I mean, I think I've gotten a 6th, a 3rd, and a 4th, and then all my rest of my finishes are 29th, 30th, and like 31st or something like that. And along with that, not being able to run because of a full-time job, but overall, this season has been up and down. A lot of good things have happened. The communication at Labonte Motorsports is getting to where everybody is great on the chat with each other. Everybody knows what each other needs to do, and every person has their role and what they do. I'm your fuel mileage specialist over there. We got guys who know when to push, when to get more aggressive. But overall, this season for me, again, it's been up and down, but pretty successful, and looking forward to next season, mainly trying to make the chase.
Absolutely, and I've been in that room before, Jared, and I know how good that group is, and how much fun it is to be in that group, to work together and have a work together to get that great finish there. So before we go there, again, congratulations on the second place finish there. Anybody you want to thank before we go to our race winner?
Oh yeah, again, I'll thank everybody at Labani Motorsports. Andy, Rod, I know y'all need to start saying Labani Motorsports instead of Dark Horse and Six Man. Y'all need to acknowledge us every once in a while when we do something good. But all the guys over there, everybody here on the crew, Rod, you as always for putting on the league. I want to give a shout out to my girl Becca, who I know is watching here tonight. I know she'll probably be calling me in about maybe the next 2 or 3 minutes to say hey and congratulations. But again, thank you to everybody watching on LSRTV and iRacing.com. Y'all are the ones who make this possible, and I look forward to next season and next race actually.
Thank you, Jared. And again, mistakenly, we're not going to a race winner. We're going to a third place finisher with Cisco.
Yeah, down here on pit road with Garrett Atwell, and Garrett, you quite a race for you. You started 28th, finished 3rd here tonight. How was it for you out there?
It was super wild, man. It was I don't even know. I think I wrecked about 3 times there. At one point I was looking at the field's roofs, on my windshield in turn 4. So it was wild. It was just an awesome job by my spotter Scott Saunders tonight. He freaking just guided me around a bunch of the stuff, and then just working with Mark there at the end, just following him through there, all the mess, and shout out to him for getting the win there. Is deserved. I know he was in some stuff tonight too, but it was just wild.
Yeah, and what was it from your vantage point? What made this race a little more chaotic? Was it the track? Was it the cars? What was it out there?
I think it's just the chase format. I mean, I know my aggression has stepped up in the last 2 races, running for the championship this year, so I think, I know it's only 11 of us, but that just, trickles down the entire field. I guess everyone just has nothing to lose right now, so everyone's just going for it. And the track and car combination definitely had something to do with it. The cars were really loose if you got anywhere near the apron. I know several times I got super tight on the inside, so it was just a very odd setup that was just difficult to drive, honestly.
Well, I can tell you that unofficially, as you leave Daytona 07, you are the point leader, and you have 8 points on set to Merchant right behind you. Where does that put your mind in terms of when we go to Talladega next week?
Just continue to be consistent, Finished 5th last week, finished 3rd this week, so I'm hoping to get another 2 positions next week and go for a win. But I know coming into the chase, I don't even know if anyone even knew we were in here. Other than my win earlier this season to get me in the chase, I didn't have a top 5. I had 1 top 10, I think. So we're definitely underdogs coming in here. But the way it's going right now, everyone better watch out. We got a run going here.
Well, Garrett, sponsor shout-outs. Who else gets it done for you in the 04 team?
Atomic Church, www.atomicchurch.com, and Standout Wraps. They're based out of North Carolina. Awesome graphic design and, wrap company. Go check them out, too. Facebook, I believe.
All right, well, that's Garrett Atwell. He's your point leader leaving Daytona. Garrett, congratulations on 3rd, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man.
All right, Andy, that'll do it for us here from the pit road. I'll make my way back up to the booth, but it was, I think you could say that was a slobber knocker of a finish right there at the end of this thing.
Slobber knocker. There's a sentence I haven't heard in a while. But I'll tell you, Rod, one thing I just took out of those interviews was the confidence I think I've just heard out of Garrett Atwell. He mentioned the season. It was kind of, like you said, first of all, you raced him before, but then came back finally basically as a rookie this season. Been very quiet. Got that win earlier in the season, which locked him into the chase. But like he mentioned, the stats weren't quite there. Just the 2 top 10s overall for the season. Very quietly, like he said, nobody knew they were here. But now all of a sudden, you look at the standings. He's got an 8-point lead with 2 races to go. They better know who that 04 is. I love the confidence I heard out of him.
Yeah, you better start looking at the ghost Garrett Atwell. He kind of came out of nowhere, and now he's starting to scare everybody because now he's in the points lead with a pretty good gap of points with 8 points over Set the Merchant, and I definitely didn't see that coming, and I think everybody else probably didn't see that coming. But who didn't see Mark Jorgensen come in? He's been always running strong. He's always up in the front. Seems to get into some instance more than others, and he comes in here and wins wins his third race of the season tonight, and so it's going to be a really interesting, next 2 races. Can Garrett continue to have that come out of nowhere, situation and really put himself at, when we're going to that last race at Daytona, to be in the championship, or Seth the Merchant, the 2-time champion, the guy who's shown, especially in ice super speedway or recently, last season, can he make it back to back, and can he really solidify and support his championship, or is it going to be a guy like Chris Passini who is again strong, been all strong this season? We're going into the Cup car, which anytime we seem to get in the Cup car, Chris Passini runs good. So it is going to be really interesting to see who comes on top after Talladega, and I can't wait to be in the race next week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to watch. And, of course, just watching the points close up, Cisco was definitely pretty cool to see with Mark Jorgensen Jr. with that win, really basically knocking his point gap in half and with 2 races to go. But you look at a guy like Rod just mentioned with Garrett that nobody really knew about, nobody's talking about him. Here he is leading the points with 2 races to go. 8 points doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about what he's got to do, he's basically got to keep that 32 right either in his mirror or right out front his windshield. I mean, 2 races, if he finishes 1 point behind him the next 2 races, he still wins by 2 or by 6 points. So I mean, a lot goes into it. Maybe even staying out and leading a lap on a caution one time. That kind of thing like that. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how this unfolds. But I gotta say, I'd rather be the guy that I'd rather be that guy that's trying to defend than the guy that's trying to chase.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're still talking about restrictor plate racing. It's still definitely a case where anything can happen in any given night, and I think at this point for these guys, you just, you brush this race away. If you're Chris Passini, you didn't have a good night. If you're Rodney Wofford, you just brush this race away and you focus on next week, because this championship ends in 2 races, and it's going to end regardless of how well you're doing. So you got to go out there, you got to perform, and you got to go out there and win yourself a championship.
Absolutely. 2 more weeks is all that these drivers have left to do it. 8-point gap separates Garrett Atwell with Seth the Merchant right now. And then you got 16 points back to Mark Jorgensen Jr., 17 back to Chris Passini, who took a huge hit in the points here tonight at Daytona 07. So 2 races to go. Cup cars next week at Talladega. That should prove to be a fantastic one, to say the least. 94 laps, 250 miles once again next Friday night right here at LSRTV and iRacing Live. We look forward to that one. We look forward to everything involved with the Superspeedway.club. You can check out their website. Get signed up. Next season's just on the horizon as well, too, just after that Thanksgiving break there. We'll get right back into it for season number 14, so that should be a lot of fun as well, too. 30-plus cars we had here tonight, as we only have 2 races left. Pretty good car counts. You want to get in the mix, you like Super Speedway Racing, get over there and get signed up and join a fantastic league ran by Rod Flagg and the rest of the guys behind the scenes, Frank Vasilia, Josh Ball, and the rest of the crew. Kelly Dahl involved in there as well. A lot of drivers that drive in the league involved with the help of the league and this website and everything involved. So make sure you check that out. Check out everything at Live Sim Racing TV at livesimracing.com. You can check out our full broadcast schedule there, including the big show coming up Monday night as the chase continues for Real Sim Racing, the Full Throttle Cup Series, as they head to Texas Motor Speedway, trying to lock in those final 4 for Homestead. One driver already locked in. David Washington did that with the win at Martinsville 1 week ago. We'll see what happens this week at Texas. And of course, how about the Road to Pro for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing? That all gets started this Tuesday night on LSRTV. Make sure you tune in for that, 9 p.m. Eastern. Which should be about the start time for that one as well, too. So a lot of things happening. Stay up to date with us on their full schedule, and as well with everything on Facebook as well. So With that said, I want to thank Rod Flagg for stepping into the booth here tonight. I want to thank Cisco Scaramouza as well for the double duty tonight in the booth and as well pushing the buttons to you. I want to thank him. For myself, Andy Kessler, I want to thank all of you for joining in here tonight. Superspeedway Cup Series. 2 more races till we crown this season's championship. It should be a doozy. We'll see you next Friday night.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations and may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. LSRTV would like to thank its loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.